Chapter 565. Xiao Zhan didn't ask much, and Han Fei didn't say much. However, Han Fei felt that there must be a reason why birds didn't appear on ordinary floating islands. It was as if no one in the town had ever used fishing nets. Was it true that no one had thought of making fishing nets? Not really. How could there be no fishing nets in a place that relied on fishing for a living? When the spirit forbidden net appeared, Han Fei knew that there was a net in this world. However, he didn't know why it didn't appear on ordinary floating islands. When the fishing boat passed the central island, everyone saw a vast forest. The trees there were abnormally tall. Even a random tree would require multiple people to surround it. It was at least tens of meters tall. The closer to the center, the taller the trees were. Han Fei could see that at the very center, there seemed to be a super tree more than 100 meters tall that was surrounded by all the stars around it. And between the two floating islands, there were many thick chains. Some people were still walking on them, looking up at the sky from time to time. When the fishing boat flew over the forest, Han Fei perceived that these trees had holes dug out everywhere, and people were living in them. And Han Fei also discovered an amazing thing. He didn't know how the branches of these trees grew, but many of them grew horizontally, turning into roads for people to come and go. However, when Han Fei and the others were perceiving with their spiritual senses, a fishing boat flew over from the sky. Someone looked at Han Fei and the others and said, "Distinguished guests from the Blue Sea Town, please don't perceive the lives of ordinary people with your spiritual senses. Although they can't perceive it, we can." Xiao Zhan nodded. "Okay, withdraw your spiritual senses." The peak-level dangling fisher in front of him was taken aback. Spiritual senses? They were more than 500 meters from the top of the tree. Besides, there was still a distance of tens of meters from the top of the tree to the living area. Could Han Fei and the others perceive it? Including the other people from the 3 academies, they were all astonished. What? Their perception range exceeds 500 meters? Some people widened their eyes and talked to each other via voice transmission. Someone said, "Do you think it's true? My perception range is only 5 meters, but their perception range is 500 meters? Someone was shocked. 500 meters, is this their limit? Why is their perception range so large? Even the great fishing masters who came to watch and learn were confused at this moment. Perception? What perception? The ordinary students of the 3 great academies still didn't know what perception was. Under normal circumstances, their teachers would only guide them when they became peak-level great fishing masters or even dangling fishers. When these students went to the level 3 fishery, it would be an important topic to explain and train. In fact, it was a waste of time. The real place to train perception was not even the level 3 fishery. But they were different. When they were still junior great fishing masters, they encountered the rock-holding turtle. When they were only intermediate dangling fishers, they had already mastered the perception ability. He kept eating the soul crystals of the level 3 fishery, so his perception range was naturally enormous. The peak-level dangling fisher leading the way thought to himself, the Thug Academy? The strength of these 5 people was probably unfathomable. There was only one peak-level dangling fisher, but their perception range actually exceeded his? Moreover, it wasn't just by a little bit. His current range of perception was only 300 meters. In the center of the 8th island, Tree Core City, everyone's fishing boat landed, and the team of nearly 500 people was in a formidable formation. Behind them, there seemed to be students from other towns also flying over. After landing, everyone realized just how tall the tree was. Luo Xiaobai gave the answer immediately. It's 990 meters high and nearly 150 meters wide. The interior is almost hollowed out. The peak-level dangling fisher smiled. This kind of thing couldn't be hidden from an excellent manipulator. He didn't say anything but just politely extended his hand and said, "This is the best inn in the Tree Core City. Generally speaking, we will only arrange accommodation for merchants who come and go to the Wind Thunder Town, or for some people in other towns. For this match, the mayor has decided to vacate the Tree Core Inn and arrange accommodation for you." Han Fei and the others secretly praised him. What a good attitude. He continued, Everybody from the Blue Sea Town, because the Blue Sea Town ranks high among the 36 towns, we've specially given you the 200-meter area at the top of the town to live. Of course, students above the dangling fisher level must live there. Great fishing masters can go sightseeing up there, but you can only live in the ordinary tree houses nearby. Xiao Zhan had no problem with that. Seeing that the presidents were not here, he said matter-of-factly, the Thug Academy will take the top position. As for the teachers of the 3 academies, they were quite bummed. Xiao Zhan's level was too much higher than theirs. They couldn't fight for it. Besides, they were the top 5 in the Blue Sea Town, so it was only natural that they lived on the top. Let's go up. There were stairs in the tree houses, but who could climb 900 meters of stairs? Therefore, although it seemed that the Blue Sea Town was given the best living environment, it was actually a test of everyone's strength. At this moment, many natives of the tree core city of the Wind Thunder Town were watching. At this moment, it was absolutely impossible to climb the stairs. Xiao Zhan didn't even need to use his wings. He simply stepped on the air and flew up into the sky. Including the peak-level dangling fisher in front of him, many people gasped. A hidden fisher? Someone exclaimed, the Blue Sea Town really deserves to be the 12th town. The leader is actually a hidden fisher. He's strong enough to be the mayor, isn't he? Immediately afterward, Luo Xiaobai pointed her finger, and 5 vines hung down from the top of the tree. They grabbed the vines, only to see that the vines retracted automatically and went up like taking an elevator. The peak-level dangling fisher was a little disappointed that he couldn't see other people's abilities. However, the manipulator of the other party was very strong. He could summon vines without feeling any spiritual energy fluctuations at all. He was not weak. Behind him, other people also jumped up. Anyway, there were many tree trunks, so it wouldn't be indecent to jump up. Some manipulators followed Luo Xiaobai and took the elevator up. Unfortunately, their control range was not so far and they could only reach half the height of the tree. Some went up with the wind-riding combat technique. Some asked others to throw them up, and some controlled weapons to send them up. The peak-level dangling fisher went up the same way as Luo Xiaobai, by grabbing the vines. There seemed to be manipulators on the top, so he didn't expose his strength at all. When they went up to the top, Luo Xiaobai and the others were already in the house. This place was fully equipped, and as far as the eye could see, it was full of natural decorations. There was a fish grass pattern on the door, the window was half-hollowed, and the interior decoration was mainly arc-shaped. The bed was round, which was exactly like a fucking themed suite. The 5 of them occupied the 2nd floor from top to bottom. The problem was that there were only 5 of them and they couldn't live in such a large place at all. How could there only be 5 rooms in a space of nearly 18,000 square meters? Even a presidential suite shouldn't be so big. Han Fei couldn't help asking, "Brother, this place is too big. If we can't live in it, can we let others live in it?" The peak-level dangling fisher smiled and said, "As long as you are willing, of course you can. However, during the exchange competition, this place is up to you." Xia Xiaochan asked, "Then why did you just say that the great fishing masters wouldn't let you come up?" The man smiled and said, "That's to reserve more living space for you so that you can have the best experience. But if you have a place for a great fishing master, it's also possible." Suddenly, the man found that the other people of the Blue Sea Town all ran down to the 1st floor. He couldn't help but be taken aback. "Guys, the 5 of you are not with them?" Han Fei smiled and said, "Of course not. We are not from the same academy. Of course not." The man was stunned. "Wait, there are only 5 people in your school?" The man was also stunned. "Are you fucking kidding me? Other people come in hundreds of people, but you only have 5 people?" Han Fei put his arm around the man's neck and said, "Brother, it's none of your business how we live. Do you have any local specialties here? The cheap kind. 1 mid-quality pearl for 1. That would be the best." "Well, why don't you go shopping first? There are quite a lot of places to sell things, all on the ground. If you can't find them, we have arranged 20 guides under the tree to show you around." Lu Renquang immediately said, "Why didn't you say so earlier? Fei Fei, let's go down and have a look." Zhang Xuanyu said, "Let's go. I've been wanting to go down for a long time. It's boring to live in a treehouse every day." Luo Xiaobai also nodded and said, "The environment here is very good. I also want to take a look." Han Fei immediately grinned and patted the man on the shoulder. "Brother, see you later. We'll go for a walk first. Go and greet the others." With that, the 5 of them jumped down from the tree with a swish, like playful fish. The peak-level dangling fisher didn't know whether to laugh or cry. They didn't look like experts at all. Before the 5 of them landed, they found that many people gathered under the tree and seemed to be arguing. Someone shouted, "Who occupied your house in the cloud-soaring town? Anyway, you can't live on the next floor. What's wrong with us putting a few people in? Besides, your cloud-soaring town ranks last among the 36 towns. You shouldn't be living here in the first place." A woman in her 20s was suppressing her anger and arguing, "This is arranged by the mayor of the Wind Thunder Town. Are you questioning the mayor's arrangement?" Chapter 566. The teacher from Lingyun Town seemed to have a weak aura. Although she was also an advanced dangling fisher, her teacher was a peak-level dangling fisher. Besides, there were less than 100 dangling fishers in the cloud-soaring town, but nearly 300 great fishing masters had come. Seeing this scene, Han Fei already understood. The cloud-soaring town was weak, so it sent so many great fishing masters here just to let them learn from others by watching the battle. While still flying in the sky, Han Fei suddenly pushed Lu Renkuang aside. "Lu Renkuang?" Below, the 2 sides were still arguing. Suddenly, they looked up. A peak-level dangling fisher teacher hurriedly stepped aside. "Is this guy trying to kill me?" Bang! Lu Renkuang landed and said innocently, "Fei Fei, why did you push me?" Han Fei asked, "Did I?" Lu Renkuang was speechless. "Don't you know whether I pushed you or not?" Before Lu Renkuang spoke, the teacher shouted, "Whose student is this? Don't you see there are people down there?" Han Fei put his arm around Lu Renkuang's shoulder, glanced at the teacher, and then looked at the people of the Wind Thunder Town who led the way. "Which town is this? Why are your words so harsh?" The guide couldn't help but be slightly stunned, thinking, "Is this deliberate?" However, they were only guides. If the conditions allowed, they were more willing to see conflicts between towns. If they could fight, that would be the best. When it was time to stop them, they would stop them. That way, it would be easier to see the strength of these towns. Another reason was that Cloud-Soaring Town was too weak and ranked at the bottom of the list. The people of the Wind Thunder Town despised them deep down. Before the guide could speak, the teacher said, "I'm a teacher from Fiery Dragon Town's First Academy. Where is your teacher? Let him come out and speak. I want to see whose student is so arrogant." Puchi. Xia Xiaochan couldn't help but laugh. "You sure talk big." Although Zhang Xuanyu didn't know why Han Fei interfered, he had to take care of it himself. Immediately, he curled up the corners of his mouth and said, "You? A peak-level dangling fisher is standing opposite my teacher? I'm afraid he wouldn't even dare to fart." Han Fei said with a smile, "Tisk. Did you hear that? Incisive." Lu Renkuang also said frankly, "You're too weak. You can't do it." As for the people from the Cloud-Soaring Town, they didn't know what to say. The female teacher even thought that they didn't do it on purpose and just got involved accidentally. On the other hand, the students from Cloud-Soaring Town expressed their relief. "Pumph. The Flame Dragon Town's ranking isn't that high. Why are you so arrogant? That's right, they're going too far. What right do they have to occupy our room? It's too much to let a great fishing master live on the same floor as us dangling fishers. Doesn't the Wind Thunder Town care about this?" The guide from the Wind Thunder Town said, "Of course we will. However, there might be more rooms in Gui Town. Logically speaking, we can't completely reject the Fiery Dragon Town's request. We've already sent someone to inquire about it." The guide of the Wind Thunder Town said sincerely with a gentle expression. No one would be able to find fault in his words. The guide said, "Ms. Ling Ling, do you want to wait for a while?" The guide from the Fiery Dragon Town also said, "Master Xuanan, please don't ruin our friendship. Everyone here is a guest. Why don't we wait for a while?" Han Fei frowned. Why should I wait? As a mayor, his words were like water that had been released and couldn't be taken back. If he said he would give the cloud-soaring town a large place to live, he wouldn't give them any discount. What kind of guide was this? He was just stalling for time. Did they want to continue to cause a fight? Han Fei smiled. Phew. It seems that the mayor of the Wind Thunder Town doesn't mean anything. Luo Xiaobai frowned. Logically speaking, the fiery dragon town shouldn't occupy the rooms of the cloud-soaring town. Xue Nan from the fiery dragon town sneered. We won't know until later. However, I don't care about this matter now. But you little fish, which town are you from? Han Fei sneered. The Blue Sea Town. What do you think? Immediately, a student from the fiery dragon town sneered. The Blue Sea Town ranks 12th. Are you so arrogant? Although our fiery dragon town only ranks 18th, we're better than you, right? Exactly. Among the 5 of them, only 1 is a peak-level dangling fisher, and the other 4 are advanced dangling fishers. Is this the big town that ranks 12th? Someone sneered. Who knows, after this exchange competition, he might drop to 22nd place? Students were the most impulsive creatures. They were in the prime of their youth and usually didn't care about right or wrong in order to protect their own interests and reputation. As long as they were not from their own school, they would usually regard them as enemies. Xia Xiaochan was hot-tempered, and she was born with this kind of temper. She even stabbed Han Fei. How could she be an exception to these people? Swish. In a flash, Xia Xiaochan appeared among the opposing team of students and stabbed 2 people. Before the other party realized what was going on, she had flashed back. Xue Nan was shocked. Bastard! How dare you lay a finger on a student of the fiery dragon town? As he spoke, Xue Nan had already grabbed Xia Xiaochan despite the dissuasion of the guide of the Wind Thunder Town. Bam! A golden fist mark flashed by and blew Xue Nan dozens of meters away. After he steadied himself in embarrassment, Xue Nan was shocked. Was it the young man who attacked just now? How could an advanced dangling fisher be so strong? The guides of the Wind Thunder Town who were going to dissuade him all shut up after seeing this scene. At this moment, they were staring at Han Fei with bright eyes. The punch just now was too fast. They saw a golden flash, and the leading teacher of the fiery dragon town was sent flying. Are you telling me that this is the strength of an advanced dangling fisher? Han Fei sneered. Now, do you think the Blue Sea Town is qualified? In front of the fiery dragon town's team, several other teachers stood out. Someone scolded, "Boy, how dare you?" Someone said angrily, "The Blue Sea Town is really arrogant." Ling Ling from the cloud-soaring town slightly changed her face, shocked by Han Fei's strength, but then she said telepathically, "Student, the people of the fiery dragon town are all warriors. Be careful." Han Fei smiled and tilted his head to look at the people of the fiery dragon town. As a teacher, you should act like a teacher. Do you think it's reasonable for you to bully a friendly town? Xue Nan rose, shook his arms, and looked at Han Fei coldly. As the leading teacher, he was the leader of the team when the mayor and the principal were not here. Now that they had lost face, they couldn't let it go. The reason why they had a dispute with the cloud-soaring town was just a matter of face. Immediately, the man bellowed, and the illusion of a long-necked turtle suddenly burst out. Spirit Turtle Water Shocking Palm. Han Fei was instantly amused. He found it hilarious that the people of the fiery dragon town thought that they had performed an awesome combat skill. Han Fei only felt that the people of the fiery dragon town were really reckless. Han Fei immediately took out a twig and waved it casually, and a knife light swept straight at the big black palm. Look at my turtle-suppressing demon knife. Xia Xiaochan and the others? Lu Renquang tilted his head and glanced at Han Fei. What knife? Poochie! The big palm was cut apart by Han Fei's knife. The knife continued moving forward. At this moment, Xuanan finally realized Han Fei's power. Horrified, he hurriedly protected himself with the black turtle shield. Clang! Xuanan fell to the ground on his back. Although he was not injured, one of his hands was already stiff and slightly trembling. The hundreds of students watching all looked surprised. Isn't this too fucking awesome? Many students of the Fiery Dragon Town were dumbfounded. Is this really a student of the Blue Sea Town? Isn't he a bit too strong? Especially on the cloud-soaring town side, many people were dumbfounded. This is a peak-level dangling fisher. He can't even resist one attack from a student of the Blue Sea Town. Isn't this a bit too scary? Many people had looks of envy in their eyes. How great would it be if they were so strong? Ling Ling's pupils constricted. Is the Blue Sea Town already so strong? It shouldn't be. With such strength, even in the Wind Thunder Town, he must be an expert. The two guides of the Wind Thunder Town looked at each other with surprise in their eyes. They had thought that the students of the Blue Sea Town could only be regarded as mediocre. But Han Fei had refreshed their cognition. He could fight someone of a higher level with just one attack. What kind of monster was he? At this moment, the guide of the Blue Sea Town seemed to find that there was a dispute down below. At this moment, he was coming down from the tree, and he almost fell off the tree after seeing this scene. So strong. What's going on? After the guide of the Blue Sea Town came down, he asked the other two with a cold face. Nice to meet you, Senior Brother Pan. After receiving the two's voice transmissions, Pan Yi's face changed slightly, and then he turned to Ling Ling and said, I'm sorry, everyone. My junior brother has just graduated from school and doesn't know how to judge many things. Please excuse me. Ling Ling finally looked better and said with a smile, I have to thank the students of the Blue Sea Town for their help. Otherwise, I'm afraid things would have gotten out of hand. Pan Yi nodded and then looked at Xue Nan. Mr. Xue, the mayor has already set the living standards. Please abide by them. Otherwise, if things get out of hand, it will be embarrassing for everyone. Xue Nan glared at Han Fei and then shouted to the people of the Fiery Dragon Town, let's go. Second update. Asking for votes. End of this chapter. Chapter 567. After everybody from the Fiery Dragon Town entered the inn, Ling Ling walked to Han Fei. Thank you for your help, fellow student. Han Fei grinned and said, You're welcome. I'll help when I need to. That's how helpful I am. Well, Ling Ling's lips twitched. This guy seems to be rather shameless. Immediately, the students from the cloud-soaring town gathered around him. A girl asked, Hey, what's your name? Hey, why did you help us? Did you fall in love with a girl from the cloud-soaring town? Hey, the cloud-soaring town is full of beauties. Hey, Han Fei suddenly felt that something was wrong. Why did his waist hurt? Han Fei chuckled. Don't ask me why. Just call me. As he spoke, Han Fei grimaced and said, What? I have something else to do. I'm leaving. Bye, everyone. Han Fei slipped away, looking back as he ran. Xia Xiaochen, let's talk this out. Zhang Xuanyu covered his head and leaned closer to Luo Xiaobai. I'm so jealous. Luo Xiaobai shouted, Get lost. Lu Renkuang chased after him and shouted, Han Fei, wait for me. Should we go and have some local specialties first? I see a gourmet shop. The tree core city was called the tree core city because everybody lived in the trees. The range of 10 meters to 30 meters from the ground was full of shops selling all kinds of things. For example, within 10 kilometers of the central tree where Han Fei and the others were, all kinds of special products were available. There were shops selling shrimp dumplings, fish balls, steamed seafood, clothes, weapons, fishing rods, and daily necessities. It could be said that all the resources that people needed in life were here. Lu Renkuang's goal was to eat. He crawled into the tree holes and grabbed dozens of skewers of fish balls and shrimp dumplings. As a result, the 5 of them really became out-and-out tourists who just ate, drank, and wandered around. Luo Xiaobai suddenly asked, Han Fei, why do we need so much money? Han Fei smiled and remembered the information that even spiritual stones had become a currency in the unknown place. He immediately said, because we will definitely need a lot of money in the future. I hate that Marshal Uncle Faceless robbed us of 5 billion. Otherwise, why would I be in this state? Xia Xiaochan said, I'll sell all the 1,000 low-quality spiritual weapons here. According to the price of 100,000 per weapon, that's only 100 million. Adding up all the other miscellaneous stuff, I'm afraid it's worth another 100 million. Adding up to 200 million. The ordinary people in the Blue Sea town can't afford that, can they? Han Fei smacked his lips and said, "That's right. I definitely can't eat it. A 1 in 1,000 chance of drawing a low-grade spirit artifact could only attract a small portion of people. But that's still money." Zhang Xuanyu asked, "Han Fei, don't you still have money?" "I don't have much either. Less than 500 million. I'm running out of money." Immediately, everyone was speechless. Less than 500 million, and you're telling us that we're running out of money? How much fucking money do you need to have to be considered rich? Suddenly, Han Fei saw a rather delicate tree hole, on which the words "Fine Carving Accessories Shop" were carved. Han Fei's eyes lit up. "Let's go. We've found a specialty." In the Blue Sea town, Han Fei saw more people. Some people would come here with fish bones hanging around their necks. But fine carvings couldn't be found anywhere except in the Linglong Tower. At this moment, the 5 of them stood in someone else's fine carving accessories shop, feeling that there were a lot of novel things. Xia Xiaochan's eyes immediately lit up. But Luo Xiaobai was also overjoyed. No matter how cold a goddess was, she couldn't resist the temptation of jewelry. Basically, all the jewelry they could think of could be found here. The main categories included bracelets, rings, earrings, necklaces, belts, pendants, hairpins, ornaments, subdivided. The types of jewelry were also divided into bone, gold and stone, rattan and grass. Then, there were 2 categories, men and women. Before the shop owner came over to introduce them, Xia Xiaochan and Luo Xiaobai murmured and were dazzled. The 2 of them compared various kinds of jewelry from time to time and put them on. Not to mention the women, even Zhang Xuanyu couldn't help but start to choose. Only Lu Renquang, holding a fish ball in one hand, looked at Han Fei. "It doesn't look cheap." Han Fei grinned and said, "But it can't be expensive." A proprietress in her 30s walked over while twisting her waist. "Are you a distinguished guest from another town?" Han Fei grinned and said, "Proprietress, how much are the accessories in your shops?" The proprietress said with a smile, "Classmate, you can't tell me the price until you choose one. However, the accessories here are very cheap. You can't find an accessory shop cheaper than mine in the entire Tree Core City." After that, the proprietress went to Xia Xiaochan and Luo Xiaobai. In her opinion, men who entered an accessory shop had no spending power at all. Only women, as long as they came in, would never leave empty-handed. In less than 2 minutes, the 3 women giggled on the side. Even Luo Xiaobai didn't stop smiling. The proprietress kept praising them. "Wow, my 2 little beauties. With this earring, even fairies can't compare to you. Hey, girl, this necklace, together with your vibe, makes you look even more valiant. If you stand in the arena, your enemies won't dare to move. Girl, this is a set of rings. It's unique in the entire Tree Core City. It's a perfect gift for young men. And this is a deep blue necklace decorated with deep blue sapphires. You'll look so wonderful when you wear it. All men will be fascinated by it. Come on, girl, I'll put it on for you." "Don't take it off, Han Fei," Lu Renquang, Zhang Xuanyu shouted. "Fei Fei, look at my leather bracelets. What do you think?" Han Fei looked back, only to find that Zhang Xuanyu was wearing more than 30 bone bracelets and leather bracelets. Han Fei roared angrily, "Fuck you, put it back." "Zhang Xuanyu?" Han Fei said angrily, "Xia Xiaochan, Luo Xiaobai, put them down." The proprietress certainly couldn't stand it. She immediately yelled, "Young man, you can't talk to girls like that. Do you want to find a girlfriend or not? A woman's beauty needs to be expressed and appreciated. Look at you, you're still single, aren't you? Come on, let me tidy you up. I guarantee that a girl will fall in love with you the moment you leave the house." Han Fei, gloomily, Han Fei blocked the proprietress and shouted, "Don't talk. I'll take all your things." The proprietress paused for a moment, but then she realized what he meant. "Young man, you're still young. Don't brag." Han Fei sneered and picked up a bracelet. "Look at this. It's made of the bones of green turtles, isn't it? Han Fei picked up another necklace. This is a gem from the mines of ordinary fisheries, isn't it? This is a bracelet made of the shell of an armored turtle, isn't it? How many bracelets can an armored turtle make? This is a hairpin made of the stinger of a purple-tailed scorpion, isn't it? How much is it worth? And this pendant, is it carved from the water spirit wood? It's just a common wood from the bottom of the sea in the level 1 fishery. The proprietress quickly said, "It's rare, it's rare." Han Fei waved his hand and said, "Anyway, what I've seen so far are all made of the materials from the ordinary fisheries and the level 1 and level 2 fisheries. Tell me, how expensive can it be?" Han Fei pointed at the price of a belt and said, "Is this thing worth 200 mid-quality pearls?" The proprietress quickly said, "Craftsmanship. Young man, you don't understand this. I'm selling craftsmanship here. Look at the ornaments here. They're beautiful." Han Fei tilted his head and said, "Don't talk nonsense to me. Let me ask you, I've booked all the shops. How much is the discount?" A blue sea wandering dragon dagger suddenly appeared in Han Fei's hand, an ultra-quality battle suit appeared on his body, and he held the water-dividing seal in his left hand. Han Fei smiled faintly. "I have plenty of money, but I'm not a fool. Proprietress, I'm talking business with you now. Maybe this is the only chance for you to make a fortune in your life." Hiss. The proprietress was slightly surprised. Are they all ultra-quality spiritual weapons? So, the proprietress was here? The proprietress immediately beamed and said, "Young man, from the moment you entered the door, I already felt that you were dignified and extraordinary. 30% off, 30% off." Lu Renquang was dumbfounded. Why is it 30% off? Isn't this a bit too much? The proprietress gritted her teeth and said, 30% off is already my bottom line. My shop has 3 floors and there are tens of thousands of ornaments in total. 30% off? I don't have any profit left. However, Han Fei raised his head and said, "I want 1,000,000 pieces. What's your discount?" Chapter 568. At that time, the proprietress only felt that the boy in front of her was fooling her. How could anyone be so crazy as to ask for 1,000,000 accessories at once? They were all ordinary accessories. Was he going to buy them and eat them? However, with a wave of his hand, Han Fei threw out 10 large boxes, which added up to 200,000 mid-quality pearls. Han Fei said, "Look, I have plenty of money. The question is, do you have so many accessories?" The proprietress was stunned for 3 seconds and quickly shouted, "Yes, I have as many as you want. To tell you the truth, young man, we still have a lot of these accessories in stock. I should be able to get 1,000,000 pieces from the inventory. Even if I don't have them, I can definitely get them for you in 5 or 6 days at most." However, Han Fei didn't answer but just looked at the proprietress with a smile. "What's the discount now?" The proprietress was sweating. Who knew that a rich man would suddenly fall from the sky? She had an idea. 50% off. "I'll give you half of it." However, Han Fei said to Xia Xiaochan, "Put away the money. Let's go to other shops." Xia Xiaochan grinned, knowing that Han Fei was tricking her again. With a wave of his hand, he put away the boxes. Seeing this scene, the proprietress panicked and hurriedly said, 10% off, 10% off. "This classmate, this is already very cheap. Nothing is cheaper than taking goods from me." However, Han Fei looked back at the proprietress. "What if I take 1,000,000 pieces from you every year?" The proprietress took a breath and then said in frustration, "Classmate, how much do you want?" Han Fei smiled. 50% off. The proprietress. At this moment, Han Fei knew that the proprietress was calculating the profits in her head. However, in his opinion, although these things were well made, the price of the materials wouldn't be expensive. If it were in the Blue Sea town, due to its limited strength, it might not be able to get so many materials and manpower to specialize in the jewelry industry. However, this Wind Thunder town was too large and had a large population. The villages under its jurisdiction were probably extremely rich. For example, the jewelry industry was developing rapidly. Of course, it didn't mean that the Blue Sea town didn't have them, but they were few and expensive. This meant that their sales were not high. But if he could get the goods at a 50% discount, it would be a different story. After he arrived at the Blue Sea town, he would be able to make a lot of money. What's more, he didn't just double it. As long as tens of thousands of people participated in the lottery at the price of 98 mid-quality pearls, the money would be earned back. The lady boss was silent for a few dozen breaths of time before she suddenly said, "Student, you're from another town. You want to go back to do business, right? If you want to buy the goods at a 50% discount, it's not impossible." However, the first shipment would require 2 million pieces. Also, you have to reserve 1 million mid-quality pearls as a deposit. Han Fei smiled again. "No problem. However, we don't have that much cash on us. Can we use a spiritual weapon as a deposit?" The lady boss was slightly taken aback. "It's not impossible. However, the price of ordinary low-grade spiritual weapons is not high in our Wind Thunder town. A low-quality spiritual weapon is worth 50,000 mid-quality pearls at most." Han Fei shook his head and said, "Then I'd better use mid-quality pearls. Xia Xiaochan, pay up." Xia Xiaochan immediately threw out a lot of boxes full of mid-quality pearls. Xia Xiaochan said, 1 million, please count them." The lady boss grinned from ear to ear. Businessmen like them didn't want to go to the fishery for adventures and just wanted to live a good life. This kind of wholesale business was worth millions. She couldn't miss it. Immediately, the lady boss closed the shop and said to Han Fei, "At most 5, at most 8 days. 2 million pieces of goods, definitely not a small amount." Han Fei grinned and said, "Don't cheat me with the cheapest goods. I'm very rich. I can buy them in your house or in other people's houses. As long as you cheat me once, you won't be able to make money from me next time. In that case, you'll lose millions every year, won't you?" The lady boss nodded quickly. Yes. "You'll be satisfied with the quality of the goods. When the time comes, I'll find someone to tailor a set of the best jewelry for these 2 girls." Han Fei grinned. "That's unnecessary. The quality is too low. I don't like it." Hiss. Han Fei immediately gasped. Xia Xiaochan had already stepped on him, and the latter said to him via voice transmission, "I like it, I like it." Luo Xiaobai also grabbed Han Fei's clothes. "I like it too." Han Fei chuckled. "How can he make it better than me?" Hearing Han Fei's words, Luo Xiaobai let go, but said to Han Fei, "I want 5. 10 sets." Xia Xiaochan said directly to Han Fei, "Then I want 10 sets. You said it was you who made it." Han Fei was speechless. "The quality is not the quantity. Can't you be a little more ambitious? 2 sets of fine goods each. Well, this matter is happily decided." Zhang Xuanyu said, "Fei, what about me?" Han Fei shrugged. You pay for the materials yourself." They walked out of the fine carving jewelry shop noisily. He didn't say when he would get the goods, nor did he say the details of the varieties. Anyway, he didn't say anything. He didn't even find someone to judge. He was not afraid that she would go back on her word at all. The lady boss couldn't help but look solemn. This was a real big customer. This was all because of the advantage of his shop being located near the central tree. Otherwise, this good business would never have fallen into her hands. And Han Fei and the others didn't care about this little money at all. Even if they were cheated, so what? They didn't say anything when Junior Uncle Faceless robbed them of 5 billion. Why would they care about this business of 10 million yuan? After walking for 3 or 5 kilometers, Lu Renkuang ate and drank all the way and didn't see anything particularly attractive. Xia Xiaochan sighed. "It only cost 1 million yuan. That's too little." Luo Xiaobai added, "More than that. I'm afraid this deal will cost at least nearly 20 million yuan. 1/10 of your wealth will be gone." Xia Xiaochan scoffed. "But after returning to the Blue Sea town, I'll earn it back." Lu Renkuang said, "It's too difficult to spend money. It's faster to spend it with Junior Uncle Faceless." Han Fei said angrily, "I wouldn't be angry if you didn't mention him. As a junior uncle, he didn't even leave a penny for us. He's too stingy." He's so stingy. Luo Xiaobai nodded. He must have something that he can't tell us. Didn't the teacher say that? Han Fei smiled. What can he do that requires so much money? Mid-quality pearls are worthless in themselves, but they have value because they are used as currency. Junior Uncle Faceless needs money to buy things, which is the only thing that mid-quality pearls can do. What does he buy? He must be buying resources. But what is the purpose of buying resources? Luo Xiaobai suddenly said, to cultivate. Han Fei asked, so that he can cultivate by himself? Why would he need those ordinary resources to help him cultivate? Luo Xiaobai added, there are thousands of subordinates on the ship. I suspect that they are not from the major towns but are trained by Junior Uncle Faceless. Han Fei nodded. I think so too. But I don't understand why he wants to train those people. Besides, do he need so much money to train 1,000 people? Luo Xiaobai also shook her head. I don't know. But I can tell that Junior Uncle Faceless seems to be short of money. The president said that you can't buy spirit awakening fluid with money. Han Fei was lost for words. That's our greeting gift. As an elder, how can he not give us a greeting gift? As he spoke, Han Fei felt that something was wrong. Even a man like Junior Uncle Faceless, who was strong enough to fight against the law enforcers, needed money so much? What about the nobodies like him? This fully indicated the importance of money. Before he went to the unknown place, he had to make more money. Suddenly, Han Fei stopped and froze. Xia Xiaochan looked back. Xia Xiaochan turned around. What's wrong? Han Fei suddenly raised his head and said, did we pass by a large arena on our way here? Zhang Xuanyu nodded and said, yes. That arena is very large. I think it can hold 100,000 people. I don't think it will be a problem to hold 150,000 people. Luo Xiaobai nodded. If there are no accidents, we should have the competition there tomorrow. Han Fei didn't care where the competition was. He just chuckled. By the way, do you miss the days when we fought in the Blue Sea Arena? Luo Xiaobai suddenly said, I know what you are thinking. However, this will expose our strength in advance. I'm afraid that we will be recognized in no more than 2 rounds. Han Fei grinned. It doesn't matter. We have the 1,000 transformations technique. Lu Renquang shook his head. That's not right. You can transform people, but you can't transform your spiritual beasts or contractual spiritual beasts, right? Han Fei frowned. That's true. Everybody wandered aimlessly. After all, the preliminary round was still to come. Xia Xiaochan asked, have you gone crazy from wanting to make money? Han Fei was stunned. Have I? Xia Xiaochan nodded. Yes. Han Fei muttered, the level 3 fisheries expenses are already so high. How much are the expenses in the unknown place? If he didn't make some money now, he wouldn't be able to get it from Old Bai. Han Fei suddenly said to Luo Xiaobai and the others, well, go shopping by yourself. I'm going to date Xia Xiaochan. Xia Xiaochan? Zhang Xuanyu wailed. Are you so blatant now? Lu Renquang scratched his belly. Go. Remember to come back early for dinner. Luo Xiaobai. Han Fei took Xia Xiaochan's hand and ran away quickly. While running, Xia Xiaochan snorted. Do you have to change places to date? Han Fei scoffed. Date my ass. Let's go to the arena. Don't stab me. First update? Asking for votes. End of this chapter. Chapter 569. The arena of the Wind Thunder Town was really huge. Han Fei sensed that it was at least 500,000 square meters. What did that mean? It was as big as 2 bird nests. Therefore, Zhang Xuanyu had underestimated it. At least 200,000 people could sit in it. If they squeezed a little, it could easily accommodate 250,000 people. Other than the difference in appearance, the general requirements of the arena were similar. They just needed to have seats, a venue, and a half-covered roof. The Wind Thunder Arena was about 150 meters high. The door was in the shape of a huge fish mouth, and each tooth was 5 or 6 meters long. The fish eyes were red, giving people a sense of majesty and horror. However, There were a lot of people coming and going in the arena. Among them, not only Han Fei's team, but also people from other towns were coming. At this moment, Han Fei and Xia Xiaochan had become two different people. Xia Xiaochan changed from a beautiful ponytail girl to a cute girl with mushroom hair. Han Fei had designed this for her just now, and Xia Xiaochan had complained for a long time. Han Fei, on the other hand, had become a wild and fierce man. He also made his hair into a dirty braid, which was disliked by Xia Xiaochan for a long time. The two had changed so much that others couldn't recognize them. Xia Xiaochan asked, "Do you really have a third contractual spiritual beast?" Han Fei nodded. "Who said that one can only have two contractual spiritual beasts?" Xia Xiaochan frowned. "No. I know that you can have more than two contractual spiritual beasts, but it seems that a dangling fisher can only have two contractual spiritual beasts." Han Fei said with a smile, "You have two spiritual beasts." Xia Xiaochan pouted and said, "You have two too, okay? Don't scold me." Just as the two of them were talking, 5 people hurriedly descended from the sky. "Brother Tong, are we really going to fight? Won't our strength be exposed?" "Yes, Brother Tong. They all know that we should be competing here, so the Wind Thunder Town must have planted a lot of spies here to spy on other students." The man called Brother Tong chuckled and said, "What's there to fight? We're here to gamble." "Brother Tong, you mean you're here to gamble? Nonsense. How could we expose our strength at such a crucial moment? The Wind Thunder Town is not easy to deal with, but I've just inquired about it. You can place a bet here." One of the students said, "No, Brother Tong, what if we lose the bet? There was more. Why do we need so much money? Brother Tong, you're a famous nouveau riche." The man said with a smile, "What kind of money is that? How could a few million mid-quality pearls be considered money? You bunch of idiots. We're going to the unknown place in half a year. The unknown lands? What kind of place is that? It was a narrow escape, extremely dangerous. If you want to survive in the unknown lands, what can give you the strength?" The students who were asked were a little confused. "It can't be money, right?" A student said, "I think it should be an ultra-quality spiritual weapon." Brother Tong's face turned green. "You're really an iron-head fish. Money, money, money. Money can give us power. What do you buy for free? Where did supreme-grade spirit artifacts come from? Robbing on our own? Is there something wrong with your head?" Han Fei was shocked by the conversation of these people. They were kindred spirits. His thoughts had actually been clearly dissected by that fellow. However, when Han Fei saw the man's face, he was stunned. "This man looks familiar. Who is he?" Shoot. Han Fei remembered. When he was in the level 3 fishery, when he went to the undersea city from the seaborne grassland, he once robbed a peak-level dangling fisher's fishing boat. At that time, this guy threatened him with self-detonation. Wasn't it this guy? Xia Xiaochan tilted her head and looked at Han Fei. "Do you know him?" Han Fei grinned. More than that. As he spoke, before these people climbed up the stairs, Han Fei had already blocked their way with a swoosh. Jiang Tong and the others were all stunned. Looking at Han Fei's dreadlocks, they couldn't help but grimace. How could there be such ugly hair in the world? Han Fei touched his hair and said, "What are you looking at? You don't know how to appreciate it at all. Dreadlocks are a kind of art. Do you understand? Bumpkins." Those people immediately shouted angrily, "Hey! Who are you calling bumpkins?" Jiang Tong said angrily, "An advanced dangling fisher? Bro, you are too arrogant, aren't you?" Han Fei crooked his finger at Jiang Tong and said, "Whether I am arrogant or not, let's not talk about it. I want to say something to you." Jiang Tong frowned and said, "I am just a stranger. What do I have to say to you?" Han Fei asked, "Then are you interested in money?" Jiang Tong suddenly changed the topic and said to the classmate next to him, "Junior brother, wait for me for a moment." "Not far away?" Jiang Tong asked. "Bro, what do you mean?" Han Fei said with a smile, "I mean exactly what I said. I heard you just now that you are here to make money. As it happens, I am also here to make money. I have an idea, which is sure to make money. Are you interested?" Jiang Tong narrowed his eyes. Bro, which town are you from? Han Fei grinned. Sure, Chao Daikyu from the fiery dragon town. What about you? The corner of Jiang Tong's mouth twitched. What the hell is this name? Can't it be more technical? Jiang Tong narrowed his eyes. You are using a fake name. Why should I tell you my real name? Han Fei said with a smile. Anyway, I will know whether you tell me your real name or not at the beginning of the match. Jiang Tong chuckled. What about you? Why are you using a fake name? Because I don't participate in the match. Jiang Tong was puzzled. You don't participate? You are an advanced dangling fisher. How can you not participate? Unless you are a local of the Wind Thunder Town. No. I am a local. Why would I come to cooperate with you? I can just randomly find someone. Jiang Tong was stunned. What kind of logic is this? Jiang Tong asked, tell me how to make money first. Han Fei grinned. No problem. I will go up and fight. I guarantee that I will win. But you have to raise the stakes for me. Jiang Tong was stunned. You guarantee that you will win? You are an advanced dangling fisher. You guarantee that you will win? Han Fei shrugged. If strength can be judged by one's realm, I wouldn't be here to make money. Jiang Tong thought for a moment and said, but I heard that the arena is the banker. I can't be the banker. Han Fei said, of course you can't be the banker, but you can find a way to trick people into betting. Han Fei smiled casually. Since you knew that you could make money here, you must have made some preparations, right? Did they arrange for people in advance? Han Fei thought that this person must have some connections. Otherwise, if it was purely gambling, the chances of being tricked would be the highest. Xia Xiaochan was not necessarily good at tricking people. She might go up and stab someone while she was talking. It was a bit risky. As it happened, Jiang Tong happened to be the one to take the bait. He was smart and should be able to cooperate with him. Jiang Tong asked, are you sure you will win? Han Fei grinned and said, I'll do it in secret. You lead the crowd to bet that I will lose and will bet that I will win. Deal. Jiang Tong reacted very quickly. How much do you bet that you will win? Han Fei said with a smile, not a problem. 1 million or so. Wow, Jiang Tong immediately took a deep breath. Brother, you are so generous. Han Fei didn't seem to care. That's easy. Are you going to do it or not? Jiang Tong's lips curled. Okay, but you have to lend me 1 million first. If you want others to believe you, you have to fall into the trap first. Of course, Han Fei wasn't scared. He had hundreds of millions with him. What was there to be scared of? Immediately, Han Fei put a sea-swallowing seashell to Jiang Tong. 1 million. If it's not enough, you can ask her for more. Han Fei glanced at Xia Xiaochan and then smiled. What's your name? Jiang Tong. Han Fei snapped his fingers and waved 2 fingers in front of Jiang Tong's eyes. Jiang Tong, if you dare to trick me out of my money, I'll beat you to death. Han Fei left casually. Jiang Tong was a bit stunned. Why do I feel that I've heard this before? Something didn't seem right? Jiang Tong glanced at the sea-swallowing seashell in his hand. It was a real mid-quality pearl. But he didn't have to be so deceptive, did he? Han Fei was not afraid that Jiang Tong would abscond with the money. Little White had already remembered his scent, not to mention that Xia Xiaochan had seen all this. Naturally, it was Xia Xiaochan's job to keep an eye on Jiang Tong. The Wind Thunder Arena had a magnificent layout. It was more than 100 meters high, and the dome was decorated with all kinds of big fish. The left side was the entrance to the inner field, the right side was the registration area, and the front was the betting area. Han Fei turned to the right side quickly. Many people were stunned. Who the hell is this guy? How could he become an advanced dangling fisher with such a sloppy attitude? Han Fei slapped the table and said, I'll sign up. The staff was stunned. Sir, what kind do you want to sign up for? Han Fei was stunned. How many kinds are there? The staff member said, in terms of types, we have 4 main categories. 1 is a solo competition, 1 is a team competition, 1 is a single person against a contractual spiritual beast, and 1 is a group of people against a contractual spiritual beast. Han Fei was stunned. Do you have contractual spiritual beasts in the Wind Thunder Arena? The staff said with a smile, they're not contractual spiritual beasts without a contract. Han Fei narrowed his eyes and said, then what are the odds for me to fight an exotic contractual spiritual beast of my level? The staff was briefly stunned. Sir, your life will be in danger. You'll have to sign a life and death agreement before you can let the exotic creatures fight. Han Fei asked, how many contractual spiritual beasts do you have here? Staff member, according to your level and above, there are nearly 30 of them. Well, so many? The staff said with a smile. So, how do you want to sign up? Han Fei said, Balabazer. The staff asked, do you need a name for yourself? Han Fei's lips curled. Octopus Weirdo. Second update. Asking for votes. End of this chapter. Chapter 570. He accepted the registration. He had to wait in line, but Han Fei's registration was quite impressive. After a series of preliminary communication, the staff said that there was no need to wait. After the next 2 games, he could directly enter the arena. Han Fei held a small card in his hand and walked to the betting area. Pa! Han Fei slapped the card on the counter. I'll bet? Before Han Fei said anything, a staff member had interrupted him. Sir, the walls have ears. Please send a voice transmission. In this way, no one will know. Han Fei was briefly stunned. Oh, I'll bet on myself. 1 million. The staff member slightly shook his head. Sir, the highest bet we have is 500,000 mid-quality pearls. How could 500,000 mid-quality pearls be enough? Han Fei was lost for words. Was there a limit? It seemed that the Wind Thunder Arena was very cunning. They were probably scared of people who played badminton games like him. If there were only 500,000 mid-quality pearls, they wouldn't have anything to be scared of. Even if someone played badminton games, they wouldn't suffer a loss. Also, Han Fei suspected that even if he chose to beat someone stronger than him, he could play the same trick once or twice. However, if he placed too many bets, the arena would probably break the balance. For example, the arena might bet on him to win to balance the odds. But even so, it would be the audience's money. Han Fei pondered and realized that opening an arena was quite profitable. If there was a chance in the future, should he open an arena too? Han Fei paid the money and was slightly confused. He didn't expect the arena to be so strict. If the bets had to be transmitted, the million that he gave Jiang Tong would be useless. He couldn't trick other people into betting on his loss. Why would he cooperate with him? It would be fine if this guy had a backup plan, but if he didn't, he might not be able to make a profit this time. Then, Han Fei saw Jiang Tong blinking at him. Han Fei was immediately relieved. This guy must have a backup plan. If Jiang Tong didn't have a problem, then the fancy way he signed up just now should work. Han Fei couldn't help but sigh. Next, he had to rely on his acting skills. On the other side, Jiang Tong and the others were thinking about how to place their bets. They didn't know that the rules of the Wind Thunder Arena were so perverted, but Jiang Tong was quite calm. After a glance at Han Fei, he said to his classmates, Junior brothers, go back and call for reinforcements. Jiang Tong said, 8,000 mid-quality pearls per person. Senior marshal brother, don't worry. Wait a moment, I'll be right there. Then, Jiang Tong stood in the hall of the arena and was talking to a staff member. Jiang Tong asked, how much does the most luxurious private room cost? The staff said, Sir, the VIP rooms here are not cheap. They cost 5,000 mid-quality pearls each. Of course, there will be professionals to serve you. Jiang Tong asked, what about the slightly inferior private rooms? The staff said, then it's only 2,000 mid-quality pearls. Jiang Tong's eyes moved. It seems that there aren't many tycoons in Wind Thunder Town. The gap is actually so big. The staff politely replied, Sir, the main reason is that there are very few top-class private rooms, only about 200 of them. It's not that expensive, but there are a lot of rich people. Jiang Tong said, give me a 2,000. Sir, senior marshal brother, you can't spend 2,000 mid-quality pearls on a private room even if you're rich. Jiang Tong said, You can only make money in the world of the rich. In the world of the poor, you can only make money. Junior Marshall brother, you still have a long way to go. But, Senior Marshall brother, the amount of bets is limited. Jiang Tong said, that's why I'm calling for help. As he spoke, Jiang Tong approached the mushroom-haired Xia Xiaochan in front of the waiter and gave her a look. Jiang Tong said, Miss, Fatty Chow is going to lose. Xia Xiaochan said, that's impossible. Fatty Chow is one of the best people in the fiery dragon town. Jiang Tong said, I have a top secret. Do you want to hear it? Jiang Tong and Xia Xiaochan walked to the private room. There was a waiter leading the way, but Jiang Tong didn't shy away at all. The so-called top secret was openly revealed just like that. In such an arena that was designed for gambling, the walls really had ears. The eavesdroppers might not believe it once or twice, but they wouldn't believe it a third time. That would be awesome. Jiang Tong's scheme was so simple that it was appalling. It was just like stock trading. Undercover, secret exploration. All he needed was a casual conversation, and those who were supposed to fall into the trap would fall into the trap. Then an astonishing chain reaction would occur. Of course, Jiang Tong didn't expect this method to work. It all depended on the heavens. He had other methods. Xia Xiaochan asked telepathically, is $1 million enough? Jiang Tong shook his head slightly. Not really. Xia Xiaochan secretly threw a sea-swallowing seashell at him. Is it enough? Seeing the sea-swallowing seashell that Xia Xiaochan gave, Jiang Tong gasped hard. Damn, 5 million so easily? It was more than all his assets. Was he still human? Xia Xiaochan glanced at Jiang Tong. If I give it to you, I can take it back. Little money, don't make a mistake. Jiang Tong grinned. They were too fucking arrogant. Two advanced dangling fishers, one more arrogant than the other. However, Jiang Tong really liked making friends with such rich people, who could throw out 6 million mid-quality pearls casually. About half an hour later, the two games in the field were over. Following that, the host could be heard shouting, screaming, and going crazy. Of the two hosts, the male host was shouting, "Attention everyone! Attention everyone! Attention everyone! The Wind Thunder Arena has received the craziest challenge of the year. An advanced dangling fisher has challenged Ming Kuan, the king of 100 of the Wind Thunder Arena." The scene exploded in an instant, and many people cried out in surprise. Oh, did the host just say that an advanced dangling fisher wants to challenge Ming Kuan? Is this guy crazy? Does he want to die by challenging Ming Kuan? An advanced dangling fisher? I don't believe it. This guy is bound to lose. How long has it been since anyone dared to challenge Ming Kuan? Ming Kuan is an expert with a 100-game winning streak. Is this guy kidding me? In two different private rooms, Xia Xiaochan and Jiang Tong asked the waiter almost at the same time, "Who is Ming Kuan?" The waiter replied, "Ming Kuan is the king of 100 of the Wind Thunder Arena. He has a battle every day, and he's won 137 times in a row. Many people have challenged him, only to be defeated. However, it's been 32 days since anyone dared to challenge him." Jiang Tong's reaction was, "Oh? What's the odds?" The waiter said, "The host will announce it on the spot." Xia Xiaochan's reaction was, "What's special about that guy?" The waiter said, "The intelligence of the Wind Thunder Arena costs." Ha! Xia Xiaochan threw a box out. "Take whatever you want." The waiter immediately said, "Ming Kuan, a peak-level dangling fisher. His naturally endowed spiritual beast, the blue tide turtle, is known for its invincible defense. His contractual spiritual beast, the mad blood worm, can multiply his combat ability. His second contractual spiritual beast, the three-eyed mantis shrimp, is unparalleled in speed. However, he himself is a body refiner. His pair of rushing thunder hands are incomparably powerful. When he makes a move, there will be an explosion of thunder. It can be said to be terrifying." The host in the field roared, "This is the 33rd day of Ming Kuan's truce. He's applied to the Wind Thunder Arena many times, but nobody dared to challenge him. But today, someone has. Also, he's an advanced dangling fisher. Ladies and gentlemen, let's remember his name, Octopus Weirdo. Who's Octopus Weirdo? I've never heard of him before. Where did this clown come from? He's definitely going to lose. It's impossible for him to make up a fancy name. The female host said, our Octopus Weirdo comes from the distant Fiery Dragon Town. He's said to be invincible in the Fiery Dragon Arena. He can sweep away all his enemies within 100 meters with his iron fists. The male host continued, that's right. Our Octopus Weirdo is quite a character. He even said that he would give you a surprise if he won this time. Pumph. Pumph. What a surprise. The Fiery Dragon Town is ranked 18th or 20th. Why is he bragging about it? The male host said, next, let's welcome Octopus Weirdo. Let's welcome him. Xia Xiaochan and Jiang Tong saw Han Fei stumbling out of the contestants' aisle. As if to show his crazy nature, he didn't forget to roll up half of his arm. After he showed up, Han Fei waved at the audience. There were a lot of people in the Wind Thunder Arena today, mainly because the arena would be closed for the students from the 36 towns to compete. Therefore, in order to satisfy their cravings, a lot of people rushed in today. Humph. Go back to your Fiery Dragon Town. Octopus Weirdo, don't embarrass yourself. Octopus Weirdo, I'll bet 1 mid-quality pearl on you, and I'll bet 100 on Ming Kun. The female host's voice trembled as she said, ladies and gentlemen, the current odds for this battle have been announced. Ming Kun, 1-1. 2. Octopus Weirdo, 110. Ladies and gentlemen, you have half an hour to place your bets. Please give Octopus Weirdo some confidence. Chances are that he's the one who creates miracles. What miracles? I don't believe in miracles. Pumph. Miracles never come by themselves. Are you kidding me? I'll bet on Ming Kun. You can't throw money into the water however much you have. The third update, asking for votes. More updates, end of this chapter. Chapter 571. Speaking of which, the entire Wind Thunder Arena had gone crazy. A lot of workers were selling tickets and collecting money. As long as they won, they could exchange their tickets for mid-quality pearls. It was simple and straightforward. I'll bet 1,000 on Ming Kun. I'll bet 2,000 on Ming Kun. I'll bet 100 on Octopus Weirdo. I'll bet 100 on Octopus Weirdo. But I'll bet 1,000 on Ming Kun. For a moment, the arena was filled with noises. Only those who were cautious would bet on both Ming Kun and Han Fei. But if they bet 1,000 on Ming Kun, they would earn 200 if they won. If they bet 100 on Han Fei, they would earn 900 if they really won. Even if they lost, they would still earn 100. In such a way, those who bet in such a way wouldn't lose either way. However, the big shots in the private rooms were different. Someone said, where did this idiot come from? He's challenging Ming Kun? I'll bet 500,000 on Ming Kun. I'll bet 200,000 on Ming Kun. I'll bet 300,000 on Ming Kun. When it came to Xia Xiaochan, she simply threw out 500,000. I'll bet 500,000 on Octopus Weirdo. The waiter was stunned to hear that. Girl, are you sure you want to bet 500,000 on Octopus Weirdo? The waiter felt that the guy was definitely not smart. 500,000 on Octopus Weirdo? Xia Xiaochan said with a smile, this Octopus Weirdo is interesting. Let's see if he wins. In the next room, Jiang Tong was mumbling, did I make a mistake? Jiang Tong kept an eye on him. After hearing about Ming Kun's strength, he couldn't figure out how Chao Daikyu could win. So, he said, I'll bet 500,000 on Ming Kun. The waiter's eyes glittered. He didn't expect someone in the Paheo private room to be so generous. He smiled and said, okay, sir. Then, Jiang Tong spoke to everybody telepathically, asked the other students to bet 5.5 million on Octopus Weirdo. However, Jiang Tong didn't use his own money. He was going to wait and see. If Han Fei's strength exceeded his expectations, he would have his own ways to remedy the situation. In the meantime, Jiang Tong was betting that if Chao Daikyu won, he would earn 49.5 million. If Ming Kun won, he would tell Chao Daikyu that he bet all his money on Ming Kun, and he would still have 600,000 yuan left. Speaking of which, it was quite a coincidence. No student would go to the arena of the Wind Thunder Town to play a game on the first day they came to the Wind Thunder Town without being familiar with the place. Coincidentally, there were a lot of people today. Coincidentally, Han Fei picked a player that everyone thought he would definitely lose. When Han Fei came out, the audience gasped. At this moment, the host roared, "Next, let's welcome my king of 100 men, rushing thunder hand, battle madman. Ming Kuan, come on stage." "Ao ao, Ming Kuan, Ming Kuan, Ming Kuan," the female supporter said. "Dear audience, please raise your hands and cheer for Ming Kuan and Octopus Weirdo. Will Ming Kuan secure his 138th consecutive victory, or will Octopus Weirdo break Ming Kuan's record? Let us wait and see." In the arena, Ming Kuan didn't take anything and just walked straight to the center. Han Fei smiled. As usual, he was jolting around like a chunibyu. He played the part of a hooligan to the fullest. Ming Kuan looked strong and seemed to be at least 28, but Han Fei knew that he was only 17 this year. Ming Kuan's muscles were solid and explosive. His hands were brimming with spiritual energy even though he wasn't moving. Han Fei only observed him for a moment and knew that he couldn't be weak. He had thought that all the experts were concentrated in the Thousand-Star City, but it seemed that he was wrong. A lot of experts were gathered in the Thousand-Star City, but not all of them. At the center of the arena, Ming Kuan turned his head hard, making cracking noises. "Advanced Dangling Fisher, what gives you the courage to challenge me?" Han Fei smiled casually. "Money. I should make a lot of money if I defeat you." Ming Kuan grinned. "Then you'll be disappointed." Han Fei said, "I'm not disappointed. I've already won the moment you showed up in this arena." Ming Kuan sneered. "I won't go easy on you even if you are just an advanced dangling fisher. Everybody has to pay the price for their choice." Han Fei said, "I'll go easy on you. After all, it's embarrassing to make money with your name." Ming Kuan, "Humph." The cursing session was over. At this moment, the male host's voice echoed, "Wow." The two of them seem to be preparing and can't wait any longer. Then, I announce that the competition officially begins. "Oh, Ming Kuan, slap him to death." Ming Kuan, finish the battle in 1 second. "Octopus Weirdo, you'd better lie down." Rumble. Thunder rumbled. Ming Kuan took action. The moment he took action, thunder rumbled, and electric arcs surrounded Ming Kuan's palms. The palm covered in electric arcs had already reached Han Fei in the blink of an eye. Han Fei, on the other hand, was still smiling and golden light was flashing on his fist. Boom. In the next moment, out of everybody's expectation, Ming Kuan and Han Fei were both flung back. Ming Kuan took almost 10 steps back in a row, leaving deep footprints on the ground. Han Fei took a dozen steps back, almost exactly the same as Ming Kuan. Instantly, someone exclaimed, "Shoot! An advanced dangling fisher can resist Ming Kuan's rolling thunder palm? Seriously? Is this Octopus Weirdo so strong? I should have bet more earlier." The host's eyes glittered. "But our Octopus Weirdo deserves his reputation. He's truly invincible in the arena of the fiery Dragon Town." On the field, Ming Kuan frowned. Just now, he only used 50% of his strength, but it was still more than what a regular peak-level dangling fisher could do. No wonder this guy dared to challenge him. He was as strong as a peak-level dangling fisher. Han Fei, on the other hand, was confused. Is this king of 100 men from the Wind Thunder Town so weak? How can I pretend if he's so weak? It's very difficult to pretend. What if I accidentally kill him? Again. When Ming Kuan attacked again, his speed and strength were almost doubled. The speed of his palms was truly as fast as lightning. Han Fei's eyes glittered. So, this guy had been hiding his strength just now. Bam, 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 bam. Electric arcs and golden light raged in the field, and the earth and stones on the ground were flying. The two of them were extremely fast. After only 5 seconds, they had exchanged almost 100 blows. Then they were blown back again. Ming Kuan and Han Fei were evenly matched again. Han Fei's hands were slightly shivering at this moment. As expected of the king of 100 men from the Wind Thunder Arena. My fists are shaking uncontrollably. Shake. Han Fei even shook his fists symbolically. However, Ming Kuan's eyes were full of fanaticism. You've become an advanced dangling fisher through body tempering too? Han Fei twisted his neck. Do you think I was kidding when I said that I punched the 9 heavens floating island and kicked the North Sea mantis shrimps? The audience in the field had gone crazy and were roaring crazily. Blood frenzy, blood frenzy, blood frenzy. Ming Kuan, kill this guy now. We all bet on you to win. Air waves spread out from Ming Kuan's feet, and energy from the earth was poured into his fists. His eyes turned red, and he was already attached to the mad blood worms. Not just the mad blood worms, the phantom of a mantis shrimp enshrouded Ming Kuan's body. At the center of his eyebrows, a third eye appeared. Han Fei grinned. Good boy, you're indeed not weak. Han Fei was right. Ming Kuan was more than twice as strong. The mad blood worms were violent contractual spiritual beasts, and Han Fei couldn't be more familiar with the mantis shrimp. The 9-tailed mantis shrimp was so fast that even Han Fei couldn't see it clearly when it punched. However, how could the opponent's 3-eyed mantis shrimp compare to the 9-tailed mantis shrimp? Han Fei roared, "Come on, I'll show you my golden invincible exploding fist." Pooh! Xia Xiaochan was drinking juice, but she burst into laughter when she heard Han Fei's roar. What golden invincible exploding fist? At this moment, she finally confirmed one thing, which was that Han Fei was really not talented at naming things. If she had children in the future, she would never let this guy name them. Suddenly, Xia Xiaochan blushed. Why did she think of children? The host roared, "It's coming, it's coming. Ming Kuan is about to explode. Can his blood frenzy ignite the name of the Wind Thunder Town? Can he still dominate the Wind Thunder Arena with his speed? Let's see how Octopus Weirdo deals with it." Han Fei, however, raised his eyes and said casually, "Attach. Fourth update. More updates. Asking for votes." The author said, "Asking for monthly votes, recommendation votes, diamonds. Oh, I've been updating a lot every day anyway." Please. End of this chapter. Chapter 572. It was the first time that Han Fei had fought with Little Fatty in front of so many people. Although the 9 death soul-splitting octopus sounded awesome, it was nothing more than 2 light bulbs on Han Fei's shoulders after it was attached to him. It didn't look scary at all. As for the rest, there was nothing strange about it. It was no different from the possession of an ordinary contractual spiritual beast of an octopus. If Han Fei were attached to the 9-tailed mantis shrimp again, the tentacles would be gone and replaced by the 9-star chain. Xia Xiaochan was stunned to see the big octopus. Was it the 3rd contractual spiritual beast that Han Fei mentioned? A big octopus? Many people in the auditorium realized what was going on. Unfortunately, they couldn't tell whether it was a naturally endowed spiritual beast or a contractual spiritual beast. Han Fei made up his mind, and the shadow disappeared, leaving only the 2 light bulbs on his shoulders. At this moment, Han Fei had a 360-degree field of vision. It would be a great effect if he had 3 heads and 6 arms. Boom! After a thunderous explosion, Ming Kuan disappeared, and an electric arc fell on Han Fei in the blink of an eye. However, Han Fei wasn't a pushover. The features of the art of invincibility were confidence and ferocity. When the electric arc fell on Han Fei, it turned into a big hand. Han Fei roared and punched out at the same time as the electric arc beam. Bam, bam. Han Fei hadn't found a good opportunity in the arena. Ming Kuan was smashing the head with the mantis shrimp's unique skill. The 3-eyed mantis shrimp didn't seem weak, and its tentacles were very fast. Han Fei found that he couldn't keep up with the majestic mystic spell anymore in terms of speed. At this moment, the 2 of them were bombarding each other, and Han Fei was being pushed back. He didn't use the majestic mystic spell. He needed to be beaten for a while so that the audience could see hope. That was the best part of his acting skills. Bam! Han Fei flew backward, his whole body stained with blood, and he was still vomiting blood. Great! Ming Kuan is invincible. That's it. Octopus weirdo, you can't possibly win. The male host shouted excitedly, is the winner about to be decided? In fact, Octopus weirdo from the fiery dragon town is really strong. He's the only one who can fight Ming Kuan in an arena. The female host, is there still a chance to turn things around? So far, we've only seen Octopus weirdo using his naturally endowed spiritual beast. Where is his contractual spiritual beast? Does he still have any secret techniques? Han Fei struggled to his feet. As expected of the king of 100 men in the Wind Thunder Arena, Ming Kuan's chest was heaving. Although he had been bombarding Han Fei all the way, he was really surprised by Han Fei's physique. After being bombarded by him so many times, he was only injured, and it wasn't even a serious injury. Ming Kuan's eyes were burning with passion. You are very strong. If it was someone else, you would have won. Unfortunately, you've encountered me, a me who has only displayed 70% of my full strength. Han Fei grinned. Oh, only 70%? I thought that you had displayed 120% of your strength. By the way, didn't you eat? The other party frowned. Han Fei twisted his head and said, you must not have eaten. Otherwise, how could your strength be so weak? Ming Kuan was furious. Again. Hula! 100 electric arcs were flashing, and hundreds of palms seemed to be pressing 10 meters around Han Fei. Every palm strike was ferocious and powerful. Take this. Pegasus Meteor Fist. Yes, Han Fei had changed his name again, and he was roaring it. Bam, bam, bam. 100 golden fists were thrown in all directions. In the eyes of other people, Han Fei was so crazy that nobody could see his fists clearly. However, as ferocious as they were still no match for Ming Kuan's running thunder palm. In the host's words, Han Fei had unleashed a secret technique, but it wasn't enough. The gap between their levels was too huge, and Han Fei was about to be defeated. 10 seconds passed. Someone roared, look, Han Fei is vomiting blood. He's about to be defeated. 20 seconds passed. Someone roared, he's finally going to be defeated. 30 seconds passed. Someone said excitedly, look, Octopus weirdo is vomiting blood again. 50 seconds passed. Damn it. Are you done yet? Ming Kuan should slap him to death. Little brat, can you still take it? 100 seconds passed. Ming Kuan was appalled. He had almost run out of energy and could only rely on the blue tide turtle to resist. The golden fist shadow landed on the jade tide turtle, causing dust to fly everywhere. 200 seconds passed. Both of them were covered in wounds. Ming Kuan's blue tide armor was broken. Many of the audience members were stunned and stood up one by one. In their eyes, Ming Kuan couldn't take it anymore, but Octopus weirdo was even worse. He couldn't even stand steadily anymore. The host was roaring crazily, heavenly talent. Octopus weirdo must be an unparalleled heavenly talent from the fiery dragon town. Otherwise, he couldn't have lasted so long. Outside the stage, many people were recording and talking. Someone asked, is there such a person from the fiery dragon town who came this time? Someone was confused. I'll have someone look into it right away. In the private room, Jiang Tong took a deep breath too. Isn't this guy too stubborn? You were already on the verge of collapse 200 breaths ago. Why are you still on the verge of collapse now? Xia Xiaochan rolled her eyes now and then. She estimated that Han Fei's skin wasn't even broken. How did the blood come out? What Xia Xiaochan didn't know was that the 9 death soul-splitting octopus could offset 90% of attacks in the first place. Even after attaching it, it could still offset 50% of Han Fei's attacks. Therefore, it was impossible for Ming Kuan to hurt Han Fei. Ming Kuan panicked and thought to himself, it's impossible. How can I be defeated by an advanced dangling fisher? That's absolutely impossible. Then Ming Kuan suddenly roared, take my last attack, 9 rumbling thunder. Seeing that Ming Kuan was about to launch his ultimate attack, Han Fei shouted, I've been waiting for this moment for a long time. Take my last attack, big fish? What kind of punch is that? Pooh, cough cough. Many people were lost for words. Have you forgotten what kind of punch you're good at? Isn't that too outrageous? It doesn't matter what kind of punch it is. At that moment, smoke and dust billowed, and the two figures were thrown out of the smoke and dust. Someone was lost for words. It's a tie! Damn it. Did anyone bet on a tie? We're screwed. We're screwed. How can this octopus weirdo be so strong? Is there such a tough guy in the fiery dragon town? Damn it. The arena tricked us. For a moment, everybody in the auditorium was yelling. Xia Xiaochan pretended to exclaim, he won. Xia Xiaochan's maid was dumbfounded too. If Octopus Weirdo got back to his feet, wouldn't the girl have earned 5 million with the 500,000? Jiang Tong was so excited that he roared, get up! Get up! Get up now! Jiang Tong almost went crazy. He had just won 50 million. His heart couldn't take it anymore. Cough, cough. On the arena, Han Fei suddenly stretched out a hand and then propped himself up with great difficulty. The audience was calling for Ming Kuan crazily, but the guy didn't respond at all. Han Fei secretly sneered. The same attack, and he was slapped by little fatty 9 times in a row. It would be a miracle if he could still get back to his feet. The host was so shocked that he didn't come back to himself until a long time later. If Ming Kuan doesn't get back to his feet in 3 seconds, his winning streak will be ended. 3, 2, 1, oh! Congratulations to Octopus Weirdo from the fiery dragon town. This victory was astonishing and epic. It was the rise of a shining new star. You told us that there's always someone better than you out there. Clatter, throw, throw, throw. In the sky, a bunch of messy things were smashed into the arena. Han Fei even saw a bra fly over. My money! My money! Everybody was wailing. However, there were also a few who were so excited that their bodies were trembling. I'm rich. I'm rich. I bet on it randomly. I've made a huge fortune. Some of the people in the private rooms, on the other hand, were feeling sorry, but they weren't heartbroken. Someone even asked, who exactly is this octopus weirdo? Go and check what kind of past achievements this person from Fiery Dragon Town has. Jiang Tong burst into tears. He was really crying. He had never seen so much money in his entire life. Even if he took out all his battle suits and spiritual weapons, he wouldn't be worth more than 10 million, but this man had earned 50 million. What did that mean? Unfortunately, he could only get 20% of the 50 million. When Han Fei left, he raised 2 fingers at him, but he didn't think much of it. Now that he thought about it, Han Fei probably meant to give him 20%. But even 20% was still 10 million mid-quality pearls. Jiang Tong was stunned. What the hell was I thinking? 10 million wasn't enough? That was 10 million. While Jiang Tong was stunned, Han Fei rose and looked at the auditorium, before he said in disdain, I've booked this place today. I'll accept anyone who's of the same level or higher. The heavenly talents of the Wind Thunder Town are just so. I can beat 10 of them with one hand. Shoot! Jiang Tong was stunned. Have you lost your mind because of the beating? Then, Han Fei said, I'm going to bet 500,000 on myself. Is there anyone else? If not, I'll call again after I take a break. First update. Asking for votes. End of this chapter. Chapter 573. The Wind Thunder Arena was in an uproar. Many people were blushing in fury and cursing aloud. Son of a bitch from the fiery dragon town, stay here if you dare. Son of a bitch, octopus monster. You said that yourself. Don't run away. I'm going to sign up and beat him up. Me too. I'm going too. You can't. I'm already at the peak and he's at the end of his rope. I can kill him with one hand. In the crowd, Han Fei had no idea how many people had come to the Wind Thunder Arena. Many students had just confirmed their residences and arrived. Those students had only come to familiarize themselves with the environment. They didn't expect to see such a battle at all. In the crowd, a few people looked at each other in bewilderment. Zhang Xuanyu said, Is he right? Luo Renquang nodded. He must be. That golden fist mark and that familiar taunt. He's the only one who can do that. Luo Xiaobai said, Go and bet one. 5 million. On the other side, Xia Wushuang remarked with mixed feelings. Is this the strength of a top dangling fisher? I can't even take one hit from him. Xiangnan scoffed. Of course you can't. You can't even take a breath from him. He Xiaoyu suddenly said, don't you think that guy looks a bit like Han Fei? Xia Wushuang simply denied it. That's impossible. I'm told that Han Fei's second contractual spiritual beast has wings. This guy is an octopus monster. How can he be Han Fei? He looks different too. He Xiaoyu added, I'm told that there are powerful disguises that can turn oneself into someone else. Xiangnan shook his head. That's impossible. That thing is too precious. Also, it has to be of a high level in order to fool other people. Otherwise, the experts will be able to recognize you after only one glance. He Xiaoyu pondered for a moment. I want to bet on this octopus weirdo. Pooh! Xiangnan was lost for words. Are you crazy? Look, this octopus weirdo has been beaten silly. Didn't you hear that he challenged all the heavenly talents of the Wind Thunder Town? Look at him, he can't even stand properly. He's seizing all the time he has to recover. But how can he recover in such a short time after such a battle? Xia Wushuang also said, that's right. Although Han Fei also uses fists, we've all seen it. I'd believe that he could have smashed that guy into pieces with just one punch. Why did he have to beat him up like this? He can't be Han Fei. He Xiaoyu shook her head. Anyway, I just feel that he's strong. I'm going to bet on him to make money. Apart from He Xiaoyu and the others, people from the Fiery Dragon Town came too. However, at this moment, these people were dumbfounded. Wait, since when did this octopus weirdo appear in the Fiery Dragon Town? Or an advanced dangling fisher? Why didn't we know about it? Oh no, someone is pretending to be from the Fiery Dragon Town? In the end, as soon as these people finished speaking, they saw that the sides suddenly became quiet. Sure. A small fry from the Fiery Dragon Town dared to come to the audience seats to watch? Brothers, beat him up. You've misunderstood. That octopus is not from our Fiery Dragon Town. Are you implying that the Wind Thunder Arena made a mistake? Don't listen to this brat's nonsense. Beat him up. The second game came sooner than expected. The moment the male host received the message, he roared, Dear audience, the show is about to continue. You will never guess who it is that has come. Faced with Octopus Weirdo's challenge, Jing Changfeng, the strongest dangling fisher in the past, has come. The male host was infuriated too. The Fiery Dragon Town is too arrogant. If you win, you win. We'll give you honor. It's not like the Wind Thunder Town can't afford to lose. But you're blatantly provoking us. That's outrageous. If I don't beat the crap out of you today, I won't be a host anymore. The hall of the Wind Thunder Arena was already a mess. They were all people who were going to register. The hall was completely blocked. There were few people at the ticket exchange office. It was mainly because too many people had bet on Ming Kuan to win, and only a few had bet on Han Fei. Of course, there were always people who wanted to win big, but few of them had the courage and money to do so. This time, although the Wind Thunder Arena had lost 80 million, it had earned much more than that. It had earned almost 800 million. It was because too many people had bet on Ming Kuan to win. This time, Jing Changfeng's appearance shocked a lot of people. Jing Changfeng's combat techniques were truly horrifying. He had challenged a peak-level dangling fisher as an advanced dangling fisher and won. Also, he had won more than once. He had won 38 times in a row and didn't lose until the 39th time. When Jing Changfeng became a peak-level dangling fisher, he had only fought 3 times. The 3 battles lasted only 3 seconds, and nobody dared to fight him anymore. At this moment, many people sat down quietly again after Jing Changfeng took action. However, considering that Han Fei wasn't weak and that the Fiery Dragon Town couldn't raise such a talent, the arena had sent someone to investigate him. However, the audience was too loud, and they had to start the game before the investigation. As for the odds, Jing Changfeng's odds were 1 to 5. Han Fei's odds were 8 to 1. The arena made a balance, lowering Han Fei's odds and raising Jing Changfeng's odds. In this way, even if Han Fei won again, the arena wouldn't suffer a loss considering how furious the audience was. In the arena, the host shouted, "There's a man at the peak of the invincible realm. There's a man who defeated 3 strong enemies in 3 seconds. There's a man who treats cross-level challenges like eating and drinking. He is Jing Changfeng. Let's give him a round of applause and welcome him." Huh. Who? Jing Changfeng, Changfeng, I love you. Jing Changfeng, kill this guy. In the private room, Jiang Tong was thrilled. This time, he bet everything he had. He bet the 50 million he had just earned and half of his net worth. Why half? In fact, he wasn't sure if Han Fei could win all the time as he said. After all, judging from the current situation, Han Fei's combat abilities seemed to be declining sharply. But why did Jiang Tong still bet? The main reason was that he always had an illusion in his heart as if he had seen this person somewhere, which gave him an inexplicable sense of familiarity. However, this sense of familiarity told him that he had to trust this person. It was exactly this feeling that made Jiang Tong's brain cramp. He took out a small card and threw it to an inconspicuous person in the crowd. Jiang Tong was not a small figure. He was worth millions of yuan, mostly because he sold his own supplies. He had a group of people in the Wind Thunder town, about 50 of them, who specialized in selling accessories and other things for him. At the same time, Jiang Tong asked another classmate to go to the Wanjinyu town for help. He had studied in the Wanjinyu town. Why did he go to the Wanjinyu town? Because the Wanjinyu town, as its name suggested, was a trade paradise. There were many ways to do business there. He went there to learn how to make money and made a group of friends there. Jiang Tong was shocked by the 58 million yuan. When did I become so fucking bold? Am I crazy to spend so much money? Luo Xiaobai and the others, on the other hand, were having a discussion. Zhang Xuanyu said, the upper limit is 500,000 yuan. He can't make much money. Why bother acting? Lu Renquang suggested, why don't I go to our classmates in the Blue Sea town for help? Zhang Xuanyu cursed, are you stupid? The people in our town have either been beaten by us, cheated by us, or are all hostile to us. Who would be willing to help us? Luo Xiaobai nodded. Of course. Go and ask them now. Give them some money. Zhang Xuanyu asked. No. Luo Xiaobai said, you underestimate the power of mid-quality pearls. Although we seem to be very rich, how many people in the Blue Sea town are as rich as Han Fei and Xiaochan? Zhang Xuanyu nodded. Then you stay here. I'll go get them. Jing Changfeng was very handsome. He had long, flowing hair and even looked a bit devilish. Different from Zhang Xuanyu's pure handsomeness, Zhang Xuanyu was a soul warrior and very masculine. Jing Changfeng was a demon and an armorist. He wore white clothes and looked like a girl. Looking at Han Fei, who was still sitting cross-legged, Jing Changfeng put on an evil smile. You won't be able to make it no matter how hard you recover. Han Fei opened his eyes and sneered. Pretty boy, you look very arrogant. What, do you think I can't fight just because I'm injured? Jing Changfeng pursed his lips and smiled casually. Don't body cultivators like to turn the tables in desperate situations? You're quite an interesting person, a little rash. Do you know how many people are behind me? Han Fei stood up and laughed. I don't care how many people he has. Today, I'm going to be invincible and dominate the Wind Thunder arena. Immediately, there was a lot of cursing in the auditorium. Someone roared, son of a bitch, how can you be so arrogant? Do you know that you can't be handsome for more than 3 seconds? Someone shouted at the host, let's start. What are you waiting for? I'm still waiting to win back my money. Someone secretly placed a bet on Han Fei, wondering if it would help at this moment. They only hoped that Han Fei would try his best. After all, if he could defeat Ming Kuan, it would be possible for him to kill Jing Changfeng. Seeing that Jing Changfeng and Han Fei were done, the host immediately roared, now. Let's see whether Jing Changfeng's ghost god chains or octopus weirdo's ocean-shaking fists are more powerful. Let the game begin. Second update? Asking for votes. End of this chapter. Chapter 574. Jing Changfeng put down his armor box, but when the armor box moved, what came out was neither a knife, a sword, nor a shield. Inside, countless chains stretched out, just like Luo Xiaobai's vines. As soon as they popped out, there were chains everywhere. These chains spurted out crazily, some inserted into the ground, and some hung high in the sky. But in the blink of an eye, Han Fei was surrounded by these chains with no blind spots. Bam, bam. The ground exploded, and a huge number of chains broke out of the ground and clasped at Han Fei. Take 100 punches from me first. Golden fist marks spurted out like energy bullets, but to Han Fei's surprise, was it an array? Jing Changfeng smiled. It's useless. I can't think of any reason why you can get out of my array. Han Fei's fist marks actually worked when they fell on the ghost god formation. Han Fei noticed that, but this array seemed to have the ability to deflect the force. Therefore, unless he carried out the art of invincibility to the extreme, he might not be able to break through it. However, how could Han Fei expose the real power of the art of invincibility here? Han Fei's figure twisted and turned in the multiple chains. His speed was so fast and his dodging skills were so ingenious that many people were dumbfounded. Among them, the most shocked was He Xiaoyu, who was sitting with Xiao Wushuang and the others. He Xiaoyu couldn't be more familiar with this footwork. Who else could it be if not Han Fei? That person was definitely Han Fei. At this moment He Xiaoyu regretted it. He had only bet 3,000 mid-grade spirit stones earlier. To her, this was already a very large number. Even though she had wandered in the level 2 fishery for a long time, she had no more than 50,000 spiritual stones in total, which was not even enough to buy a low-quality spiritual weapon. However, if she could clearly recognize that the man was Han Fei just now, she wouldn't hesitate to bet all the 50,000 mid-quality pearls she had on her. In the auditorium, Luren Kuang was holding his chin with his hand. So, he has a third contractual spiritual beast. Why does he have a third contractual spiritual beast? Luo Xiaobai nodded. Maybe it's because of a special constitution? Lu Renkuang sighed. Why don't I have such a special constitution? Also, this octopus doesn't look weak. Little Fatty's shadow appeared in the field. Its majestic eyes and millstone-like suckers sucked dozens of chains of ghosts and gods. The terrifying power was transmitted to Jing Changfeng from the ghost god chain, and the latter's expression changed again and again. How is this possible? How could the power of the ghost god chain be controlled by a contractual spiritual beast? Bang! The tentacles of the octopus completely opened up and began to pull on the ghost god chain. Although the ghostly god chains came from all directions and wrapped around the tentacles, the ground was cracking, and the chains that bound the tentacles couldn't move at all. Instead, they were all sucked in by the terrifying suction cups. Han Fei grinned. Hey, Gigolo, do you want me to teach you how to spin in circles? Buzz. As Little Fatty waved its tentacles, countless chains were rolled up and began to spin on the spot. Anyway, Han Fei was wrapped in the ghost god chain, which swirled like a hurricane and dragged Jing Changfeng's armor box away. Jing Changfeng was greatly shocked. Soul explosion. A frightening soul attack spread across the chains, causing them to vibrate with a dang-dang sound. The host exclaimed, "It's a soul explosion." It's impossible for a body practitioner to resist such a terrifying soul explosion. Octopus Weirdo is about to... How is it possible? Jing Changfeng was shocked too. Not only did the storm of chains not stop, but it was also twice as fast and still moving faster and faster. In the blink of an eye, a storm of chains hundreds of square meters was formed and surged at Jing Changfeng. Han Fei was still spinning in the middle of the chains, thinking to himself, it's all thanks to Little Fatty's characteristics. The 9-death soul-splitting octopus had a high spiritual power and could ignore the mental attacks of all creatures within 10 levels higher than itself. Otherwise, he would have bled from his eyes, ears, nostrils, and ears when the terrifying mental blast just now hit him. But right now, he couldn't even slow it down, let alone bleeding. Soul interception. The chains suddenly emitted dense knife lights, like countless sharp chain knives, trying to cut Han Fei's spiritual beast into pieces. However, Jing Changfeng was desperate again. The chains that were attached to the tentacles couldn't move at all. Even though the chains had turned into knives, they still wouldn't listen to him. Many people in the auditorium were dumbfounded. Jing Changfeng, why don't you just do it? Jing Changfeng, just do it? Can you not look at him? You're not rigging the match, are you? Jing Changfeng, I'm going to complain about you. Is there something wrong with your head? Are you giving weapons to him? For a time, curses filled the air. Many people said that Jing Changfeng was much worse than Ming Kuan for fame. Look at Ming Kuan. He didn't collapse until Han Fei's face was swollen and heavily wounded. You, on the other hand, surrounded octopus weirdo with chains the moment you arrived. As it turned out, none of the people who saw Han Fei at the beginning of the match showed up. Jing Changfeng kept fleeing. His weapon had become someone else's. What else could he do? Eventually, Jing Changfeng gritted his teeth and resorted to his ultimate move. Bim. The ground cracked again and a lot of vines popped up from underground. Han Fei was stunned. Is he a fucking manipulator? After discovering that Jing Changfeng was a manipulator, Han Fei simply controlled the tentacles and threw the ghost god chains at Jing Changfeng one by one. Seeing that the chains were back, Jing Changfeng naturally retrieved them. In the end, the chains covered the sky and covered the earth as they flew toward him. And he sensed that Han Fei had taken out a chain out of nowhere. More importantly, he didn't know where the chain came from. It was even attached to a dark wall. Han Fei showed up. The audience exclaimed in shock. He's out, but why is he covered in blood? Could it be that Jing Changfeng's god spike worked? But what's that thing in his hand? He looks like a lunatic. Oh no. He looks very fierce. Jing Changfeng, give him more power. Let's go. The chain in Han Fei's hand was taken from the prison in the undersea city. At that time, he couldn't cut it at all. In the end, he tore it down with the chain. At this moment, the chain more than 10 meters long was swung like a wheel of fire. Even Han Fei himself didn't know how many kilograms of terrifying force was on the chain. Swish. Han Fei loosened his grip, and the chain attached to the wall was thrown to Jing Changfeng in an instant. The latter raised the ghost god chain, trying to resist it. In the end, with a bang, the formation that had not yet been formed was smashed apart in one fell swoop. Jing Changfeng was hit in the stomach and chest by the black stone and was sent flying, blood spurting out of his mouth. Those who hadn't experienced it had no idea how heavy it was. Jing Changfeng, who had been handsome a moment ago, was like a bowing shrimp at this moment, feeling that his intestines were about to be smashed out. After Jing Changfeng rolled hundreds of meters on the ground, he passed out. Han Fei lifted the chain under his feet and pulled it hard. When the black stone fell beside his feet, the ground shook. Han Fei raised his head and looked at the audience. An armorist doesn't look like an armorist at all. He's no different from garbage in front of absolute strength. Is this the heavenly talent of the Wind Thunder Town? He's invincible? Invincible my ass. Damn it. You damn octopus, what are you talking about? Say it again if you dare. Asshole, I'm going to kill you. Jing Changfeng is a bastard. He's useless. He's much weaker than Ming Kuan. Clang. Jiang Tong sat on the ground, stunned. He couldn't think straight. Almost 500 million. Almost 500 million. He had never seen so much money in his life. Many of the audience were stunned too. Some even cried. My money. Why did I believe that an armorist and a manipulator who didn't practice body arts could defeat a maniac? Suddenly someone said, wait, is this octopus weirdo really an advanced dangling fisher? Why don't I think so? Someone roared, I doubt it. Someone was lost for words. Why the hell are you doubting him? Are you blind? Can't you tell that he's an advanced dangling fisher? Many people were dumbfounded by the battle. Where did the money go? The staff of the Wind Thunder Arena took action too. Someone roared, who the hell let this thing in? There's no such person in the entire fiery dragon town. Ban him. Hurry up and fucking ban him. A bearded, middle-aged man pointed at a bunch of staff and cursed. Theoretically speaking, the arena didn't lose money in the two matches and even made some profits. However, in the second match, the arena would have to spend almost 600 million. What did that mean? It meant that if Han Fei's odds were as high as before, the Wind Thunder Arena might have been crushed by him in just one time. A staff asked, "But this octopus weirdo is going to fight the ghost-eye giant crocodile. Should we ban him too?" "Of course not. Wait a moment. What is he going to fight?" The staff swallowed and said, "He chose the ghost-eye giant crocodile when he chose his opponent." The bearded man was stunned. "Are you talking about the ghost-eye giant crocodile that we suppressed at the bottom of the arena and hasn't come out for 8 years?" The staff nodded. "Yes, that's right. Boss, are we still going to ban him?" The bearded man waved his hand. "Release the thunder smoke later." The third update, asking for votes. More updates, end of this chapter. Chapter 575. Zhang Xuanyu returned with more than 80 girls and marched to the Wind Thunder Arena aggressively. Why were they all girls? It was because Zhang Xuanyu wasn't popular with men, but he was popular with women. Nobody played with him except the girls. None of the boys bothered to talk to him. Before they arrived, Zhang Xuanyu had already paid them one by one. He also reminded them, "Don't ask or say anything when you get there. Just bet on a guy named Octopus Weirdo. He'll win for sure. Everybody will get 20% of the profit." Before Zhang Xuanyu and the others entered, they saw lightning flashing in the sky, and white smoke that looked like vortexes was swirling in the sky. "Brother Yu, what's that?" Zhang Xuanyu didn't know either. However, people were crowding to the Wind Thunder Arena from all directions. Based on that alone, Zhang Xuanyu knew that something big had happened in the arena. Zhang Xuanyu said, "Everybody, disperse. Remember to bet. Just bet as much as you have. You'll never lose anything." Then, Zhang Xuanyu quickly dived into the crowd. Someone in the crowd shouted, "Make way! Make way! Why are you squeezing? I was pushed into the air. What's going on in the Wind Thunder Arena today? Who's fighting whom? Why is there even a thunder smoke? Does anyone remember the last time there was a thunder smoke? 3 years ago?" Someone roared, "Who cares who's fighting whom? Just push inside." Zhang Xuanyu was dumbfounded. He had only been out for a while. What was going on? Why was it so crowded? In the outside world, many people were looking at the Wind Thunder Arena. Someone was lost for words. What a bunch of idiots. They must have organized a big match because the arena couldn't be used anytime soon. Someone said, "Old Wang, do you want to take a look at the arena?" "No, it's impossible for anybody to squeeze in after the thunder smoke is released. You might be trampled to death inside." According to the news from the Wind Thunder Arena in the major academies, an unbelievably tough expert had appeared in the fiery Dragon Town and ended Ming Kuan's 137 consecutive victories, killing Jing Changfeng, the heavenly talent. Some students expressed their disdain. "We'll get the news soon anyway. I really can't take it anymore. The arena is too crowded after the thunder smoke." A teacher scolded, "Girls, stay in school quietly. You're not allowed to go." Based on their experience, the Wind Thunder Arena must be overcrowded at this moment. Girls squeezed in the crowd were extremely easy to be molested. As for Zhang Xuanyu, he only cared about bringing them here. Who cared about who was molested by whom? As a matter of fact, the halls, corridors, and ordinary areas of the arena were already packed with people. The girls of the Blue Sea Town were rather smart. The group directly booked several private rooms on the top floor. Fortunately, they were not squeezed in the crowd. Someone asked, "Senior sister, is that octopus weirdo in the field?" "Seems like it. But we don't seem to know each other. Why did Zhang Xuanyu bet on that person?" "Someone made a bet. That person must know Zhang Xuanyu and the other 4. Otherwise, why would he give us 500,000 mid-quality pearls each? Gosh, is the Thug Academy all so rich?" Someone was lost for words. Although the fish dragons are theirs, they've never made so much money. All kinds of discussions and noises almost filled the entire Wind Thunder Arena. The host roared, "Attention, everyone! Attention, everyone! Today will be a day that will be remembered in history. Today, someone will challenge the ghost-eye giant crocodile. It's the terrifying creature that's buried in the wind-thunder arena. It's been 8 years and nobody has dared to challenge it. But today, this person has shown up. He's octopus weirdo. What ghost-eye giant crocodile? Shoot, is it that thing? Shoot, is this guy crazy? Does he want to die? Someone asked, what's a ghost-eye giant crocodile? Someone remarked, that's the dominating beast of the wind-thunder arena. It started 8 years ago. The owner of the wind-thunder arena captured it from an unknown ocean. It's said that its eyes can petrify people. Someone interjected, not just that. It said that the ghost-eye giant crocodile is so strong that even a hanging fisher can't resist one of its tails. Someone added, also, it said that the ghost-eye giant crocodile has scales that look like black crystal armor. Not even high-quality spiritual weapons can pierce through it, and not even ultra-quality spiritual weapons can hurt it. Many people who were bragging about the ghost-eye giant crocodile turned around and started bragging to other people. For a moment, everybody was talking about the ghost-eye giant crocodile as if it were a miracle. At this moment, Han Fei was sitting cross-legged to recover as if he were seriously wounded. Out of the blue, he even vomited a mouthful of blood, causing many newcomers to be surprised. Someone was lost for words. This guy wants to fight the ghost-eye giant crocodile? Can he do it or not? Someone said, this guy has defeated Ming Kuan and Jing Changfeng in a row. I admit that he is a heavenly talent, but he can't defeat the ghost-eye giant crocodile, can he? Someone nodded. He can't. Even Ming Kuan and Jing Changfeng don't dare to challenge the ghost-eye giant crocodile. Who would be able to withstand a single swing of its tail that could collapse mountains and crack rocks? In this huge arena, there was a group of people dressed in plain clothes. Some of them had even invited their good friends to come. But these people were promoting the ghost-eye giant crocodile's power and belittling Han Fei's current combat ability. In the private room, Jiang Tong murmured, I've done enough this time. I deserve to take the 20%. No one else has the ability to do so except me. But you have to win. If you lose, Jiang Tong didn't even dare to think about it. If Han Fei lost, he would suffer a huge loss. He was afraid that he couldn't take the blow and would jump off the floating island of the wind-thunder town. On the field, Han Fei was perceiving. His perception. The direction of his perception was not in all directions, but underground. However, what made him speechless was that he could only perceive a seal, but not inside it. Originally, he wanted to trick a large number of people to challenge him and squeeze all their money out of them. Little did he expect that no one would come when he was so heavily wounded. It could be seen how timid these people were. Han Fei didn't know that it was not that no one came, but that the arena itself forbade anyone to challenge Han Fei. Originally, the arena was prepared to chase him away. Little did he expect that he would pick the ghost-eye giant crocodile when he was choosing a target. Han Fei spoke to little Fatty in his heart, Old man, do you think you can defeat the ghost-eye giant crocodile? Little Fatty hummed at Han Fei and didn't seem to want to talk to Han Fei. Han Fei was speechless. This was definitely an incompetent contractual spiritual beast. If it were any other master, he would have slapped it. In fact, Han Fei chose the ghost-eye giant crocodile mainly because he had decided to let little Fatty fight. Although little Fatty was arrogant, it was definitely an abnormally tough contractual spiritual beast. It wasn't as versatile as the nine-tailed mantis shrimp or as fast as Little Gold. However, Little Fatty was so strong that it could ignore mental attacks within 10 levels. Also, its suckers could absorb the enemy's spiritual energy, and essence blood. For that alone, Han Fei wasn't afraid of the ghost-eye giant crocodile. However, the ghost-eye giant crocodile seemed to have an ability to petrify people. Han Fei had to think carefully. Could a spiritual energy protective cover resist it? Could an ultra-quality spiritual weapon resist it? Could the water control technique resist it? If it didn't work out, he could always cover himself with a shield, right? In the worst case, Han Fei planned to let little Fatty stand in front of him. Anyway, this guy wasn't afraid of death. No matter how powerful the weird power that could turn people into stone was, could it petrify Little Fatty? Little Fatty's mental strength was off the charts, and it was immortal 9 times. Unless it was a hidden fissure, even a peak-level hanging fissure wouldn't be able to kill it. After all, the ability to deflect 90% of the attack was no joke. Duong, in the arena, a gate that had been sealed for a long time was opened. The ground was already shaking when the gate was only half opened. Crack, crack, crack. When the huge stone gate was opened, a prehistoric crocodile that was nearly 50 meters long appeared in everyone's sight. Even Han Fei couldn't help but stand up when he saw it. At this moment, the ghost-eyed giant crocodile's eyes were covered with a black veil. Its teeth were all exposed, and there were dozens of them, especially on the 2 sides. The teeth on the 2 sides were several meters long. The ghost-eyed giant crocodile's limbs were very powerful, with fingernails that were several meters long. When it pressed on the ground, it left a footprint. Hiss! Everybody gasped. This thing looked horrifying. Han Fei was like an ant in front of it. How could he beat it? Someone was lost for words. Damn it! How can he beat it? Jiang Tong almost fell off the private room. How the hell did you pick your opponent? How dare you pick such a thing? Around the arena, hundreds of people were setting up arrays. Soon, a light curtain covered the arena. The host hid behind the table and roared, "Oh my God! Do you feel the fear from the bottom of your heart after the appearance of the ghost-eyed giant crocodile? Please wait a moment. Our staff is perfecting the defense barriers to avoid accidental injuries." Something popped up in Han Fei's eyes. 4th update. Asking for votes. The author said, asking for votes? Those who still think it's too little, I've already stopped updating. My eyes have been sore recently. It's not easy to update every day. The story has to be done slowly. Don't panic. End of this chapter. Chapter 576. Data popped up in Han Fei's eyes. Name, ghost-eyed giant crocodile. Introduction, an ancient primeval alien that carries primeval power. It's irritable and likes peace. It has the eyes of petrification, which can instantly petrify any creature below level 10. When it's infuriated, it can spit out destructive gales that can cut off a person's skin and bones. Level 49. Quality, legendary, spiritual energy greater than 7,705 points. Effect, it can strengthen your body if it's eaten over a long period of time. Collectible eyes of petrification. Note, its current strength is at least 5 million kilograms. It's an adult with extraordinary intelligence. Han Fei gasped hard when he saw the data. Damn it. How dare this damn arena fool me? When he picked it, it clearly said that it was a level 47 exotic creature. But now, you're telling me that it's a level 49 legendary creature? How am I supposed to fight it? Little Fatty was only level 38. No matter how awesome it was, how could it kill a level 49 legendary creature? It was an existence that was 11 levels higher than Little Fatty, which was even more resistant than Little Fatty could be. Also, what was the power of 5 million kilograms? If 1/10 of it hit him, it would be 500,000 kilograms, but he could only deflect half of the force even though he had fused with Little Fatty. Wouldn't it be able to smash him into a pancake with one slap? Han Fei swallowed. What would it feel like to be hit by a force of 2,500 tons? He would be blown into atoms, wouldn't he? Even if he used the majestic mystic spell and the sacrificing punch, he wouldn't be able to withstand 1,000,000 kilograms in total. Just like that, when Han Fei was fighting a hanging fissure in his peak state, he was still able to exchange blows with a peak-level hanging fissure. Although they were both level 49, peak-level hanging fissures were nothing in front of it. Han Fei estimated that the ghost-eyed giant crocodile could kill 5 peak-level hanging fissures with a single tail. The host roared excitedly, "Did you see that? This is the ghost-eyed giant crocodile, a level 47 exotic creature with terrifying strength. Even peak-level hanging fissures would at most be on par with it. However, our octopus weirdo is going to challenge the ghost-eyed giant crocodile as an advanced dangling fissure today. His dedication is commendable. I hereby announce that the odds for this challenge are: the ghost-eyed giant crocodile, 1, 1. 1 octopus weirdo, 1, 5. However, as soon as the host finished speaking, someone immediately said angrily, "Is there a hole in your brain? 1 to 5? How the fuck did you say that?" The host received news that someone had already bet almost 600 million on Octopus Weirdo before he even announced the odds to the public. It was obvious that someone was betting on Octopus Weirdo, which meant that they had high hopes for him. At this moment, they naturally had to lower the odds of the ghost-eyed giant crocodile and Octopus Weirdo. However, as soon as he said that, someone threw something at him. Among them, Jiang Tong threw the most stones. "The game is unfair. We protest. Why should it be 1 to 5? The compensation rate is at least 10 to 1. Yes, 1 to 10. Asshole, do you think Octopus Weirdo can win?" The host was not bothered at all. He simply shouted, "Everyone, please trust the Wind Thunder Arena. We will observe the challenge objectively, fairly, and strictly. Many of our analysts have analyzed Octopus Weirdo's strength and found that he can even be a hanging fisher at his peak. So, our odds are not a problem." Xia Xiaochan's eyes turned cold, and she glanced behind her. She was thinking of killing the waiter, pretending to be him, and then killing the host in the arena. Luo Xiaobai frowned and considered how to stop the challenge. Lu Renquang shuddered. Who can possibly stop him? I believe that Han Fei is strong, but the problem is that this ghost-eyed giant crocodile is beyond theoretical limits, isn't it? Wait a moment. A roar burst out of the arena. Han Fei pointed at the host with a ferocious look. The host said, "Octopus Weirdo, what do you want to say? The game is about to begin. If you admit defeat, you'll have to pay compensation." Han Fei roared, "I suspect that the Wind Thunder Arena is cheating. This ghost-eyed giant crocodile is definitely not an exotic creature but a legendary one. Also, I don't think this ghost-eyed giant crocodile is just level 47. I think it's level 49. Everybody in the arena whispered to each other. The host said with a smile, "Octopus Weirdo, the Wind Thunder Arena has always been fair and just. This ghost-eyed giant crocodile has been confirmed by many hidden fishers. It's indeed an exotic creature and a level 47 one. If you want to quit, please don't frame the Wind Thunder Arena with such an excuse." The host sneered. "You're the one who played the game with the Wind Thunder Arena first. Come on, let's see who's scared of whom." Han Fei said, "Do you dare to make a bet with me in the Wind Thunder Arena? What will you do if this ghost-eyed giant crocodile is not a level 47 creature?" The host was about to speak when a bearded man said, everyone, listen to me. I'm the manager of the Wind Thunder Arena, and I'm fully responsible for everything in the Wind Thunder Arena. I can assure you that this ghost-eyed giant crocodile is indeed a level 47 exotic creature." Han Fei sneered. "Words are no proof. Do you dare to make a bet?" The bearded man smiled. "The Wind Thunder Arena has a clear conscience. Of course we dare to make a bet. However, Octopus Weirdo, this is the first time in 100 years that you've made a bet with the Wind Thunder Arena. Do you have the money? I'm afraid that you'll need to prepare at least 100 million. Han Fei grinned. "I'll bet 500 million with you. Do you dare to accept?" The bearded man's face slightly changed. Was there really something wrong with the ghost-eyed giant crocodile? However, the bearded man didn't think so. If Han Fei were so rich, why would he come here to play the game? So, he simply asked, "Octopus Weirdo, do you have the money?" Han Fei said, "If I take out the money, will the Wind Thunder Arena accept the bet? There are hundreds of thousands of people here today. You'd better think before you speak." The bearded man was silent for a long time, but a voice echoed in his head a moment later. "Don't worry. Take the bet." The bearded man grinned. If you want to bet, Octopus Weirdo, the Wind Thunder Arena will accept the bet as long as you can take out the money." Han Fei was about to say something when his face changed and he swallowed in shock. The bearded man smiled. "What's wrong, Octopus Weirdo? Are you out of money?" In the auditorium, many people were shocked by the unbelievable bet, But Han Fei's face changed after the Wind Thunder Arena made the announcement. Everybody's first reaction was that Han Fei was a liar who only wanted to avoid the battle. But in fact, it was because Han Fei received a telepathic message. This voice transmission didn't come from anyone else, nor did it directly appear in his mind. Instead, it appeared in his heart. It was from the ghost-eye giant crocodile. There was no telling how it was sent. The ghost-eye giant crocodile said, "Human, I can hide my level and bloodline. As long as I don't want to, they won't be able to find out. So, you will certainly lose. But, if you can change the condition of the bet to saving me, then everything will be fine. Don't talk. Just engrave your words in your heart with the power of your soul. I'll hear you." Han Fei was shocked. Damn it. Can any creature talk nowadays? How can this big guy be so smart? Han Fei replied as the ghost-eye giant crocodile said, "That works, but can you pretend that you were defeated by me later?" The ghost-eye giant crocodile said, "As long as you can take me out, yes." Han Fei was surprised. "You're not scared that I'll sell you out?" The ghost-eye giant crocodile said, "You can't stop it. Also, because the gap between our levels is too huge, you can't sign a contractual spiritual beast contract with me at all. Also, I'll follow you after you get out. You can't stop me even if you summon a hidden fisher." Han Fei was intrigued. This big guy was rather confident. Han Fei didn't understand at all. The ghost-eye giant crocodile hadn't been out for 8 years. Who knew when it would be challenged again? Therefore, this time, it was not easy for a mentally unstable and weak fellow to challenge it. It had to seize this opportunity. So, in the next second, Han Fei looked at the bearded man and said, "I accept the bet, but I don't want the money from the Wind Thunder Arena. I want it." Han Fei pointed at the ghost-eye giant crocodile and declared confidently. The bearded man sneered. "Take out the money if you can. Otherwise, how can I confirm the bet?" Han Fei asked, "Then if I take out the money, will the bet be settled?" In a certain private room, a middle-aged man glanced at the ghost-eye giant crocodile for the 7th time. He was very sure that the ghost-eye giant crocodile was fine. Immediately, the man said telepathically, "Say yes." The bearded man grinned. "So what if I say yes?" However, as Han Fei waved his hand, something that shocked the host and the bearded man happened. Han Fei looked at the audience and said, "I'm making a bet with the Wind Thunder Arena today. If this ghost-eye giant crocodile is only a level 47 exotic creature, I'll pay you 500 million mid-quality pearls on the spot. But if the Wind Thunder Arena loses, this ghost-eye giant crocodile will be mine." As soon as he said that, a hill of boxes filled with glittering mid-quality pearls appeared in the arena. Han Fei sneered. "I have plenty of money. Do you really think I don't dare to play?" First update. Asking for votes. End of this chapter. Chapter 577. Everybody was shocked when Han Fei took out 500 million mid-quality pearls. Hiss. Clang. Oh my god. This octopus weirdo is so rich? Oh my god. Isn't he way too rich? Why did you come to the arena when you're already so rich? Is there something wrong with your head? Jiang Tong sat on the ground, feeling that 10,000 iron-head fish were surging in his heart. How could this jerk be so rich? A bet as high as 500 million? He felt that his worldview had been turned upside down. He was so nervous about the 500 million mid-quality pearls that his heart was about to jump out, but this guy had casually taken out 500 million mid-quality pearls as a bet. How could this guy be so rich? At this moment, Jiang Tong couldn't help but try to recall where he had met this guy. He was sure that he had seen this Chao Daikyu before. Damn, Chao Daikyu was his fake name. He only knew Chao Qiuqiu. However, Chao Qiuqiu was a noble descendant of a major family in the Thousand-Star City. Of course, he wouldn't be here. Besides, Chao Qiuqiu didn't seem to know how to fight, did he? Very soon, someone dragged Han Fei's 500 million mid-quality pearls to the edge of the arena and sent a team to guard it. In the private room, a middle-aged man smiled. He was going to win the bet. Also, the battle had to go on. The bearded man said, "Octopus weirdo, the bet has been made. Now, it's up to you to prove that this ghost-eye giant crocodile is not a level 47 exotic creature. Of course, you can ask your teacher from the Fiery Dragon Town for help. He's not from the Fiery Dragon Town. Suddenly, a peak-level dangling fisher roared from the crowd. Han Fei turned around, only to find that it was Xue Nan, who had just been beaten by him. However, Han Fei didn't care at all. He thought to himself, even if I've been exposed, so what? The badger game had definitely been discovered by now. Now that I've been exposed, it doesn't matter if I try to cover it up or not. Han Fei laughed. Would I have made the bet with you if I wasn't capable? All of you watch carefully. Watch my golden light invincible 8 trigrams divine ability, fiery golden eyes technique. Pooh! Many people were lost for words. Why are you still so naughty when you're in such a state? Someone in the audience roared, what are you bragging about? If you have the ability, hurry up and show it. Yes, if you think you can do it, then give it a try. We accept this bet. Someone shouted, come. Please start your performance. In the crowd, Lu Renquang asked, is he crazy? The Wind Thunder Arena must be guarded by a powerful master. The expert couldn't tell? Luo Xiaobai shrugged. I don't know. Let's wait and see. Zhang Xuanyu squeezed into the crowd and was stunned by Han Fei's action. In terms of stubbornness, no one would dare to say that they were the best. The 80 girls from the Blue Sea town were still stunned by the shock of 500 million mid-quality pearls. Xiaoyu covered her mouth, unable to say anything. She knew exactly how poor Han Fei was back then. He was so poor that he had to cut an ordinary clam into 2 pieces and eat it. Now, 500 million? What did that mean? However, for some reason, Xiaoyu felt that since Han Fei dared to bet, he would definitely win. She had already bet all her money on it. Next to her, Xia Wushuang and the others all swallowed. Xia Wushuang even said, how great would it be if I could pretend and brag in front of hundreds of thousands of people like this in my lifetime? In the field. Han Fei, however, bared his fangs and brandished his claws, solemnly beginning to dance. Han Fei swung his arms and crossed his legs, mumbling, hum. Hum, the audience, Xia Shaochan, Jiang Tong. Just when someone couldn't help but throw shoes at Han Fei suddenly roared. Ah, golden eyes, fiery eyes, open. From Han Fei's eyes, 2 weird beams of light that were crimson and milky white shot out. In fact, in the eyes of the experts, you were nothing but a mixture of spiritual energy and energy. What was the point of spraying that? However, in the eyes of outsiders, it was very good at pretending. What could be weirder than shooting beams of light from his eyes? When the spiritual energy and energy fell on the ghost-eye giant crocodile that was wrapped in layers of chains, there was no reaction at first. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Someone cursed, what a braggart! You scared me. Oh. Hardly had the man finished speaking when the ghost-eye giant crocodile suddenly roared and spewed out a lot of scorching white smoke. Its fangs were opening, and its body was writhing. The chains made of unknown materials were clanking and clanking. The ghost-eye giant crocodile was infuriated. It was going on a rampage. A terrifying and astonishing aura burst out of the ghost-eye giant crocodile. In the sky, Xiao Zhan almost fell from the sky. Is that even possible? Xiao Zhan was lost for words. Han Fei was just pretending. How did he make the ghost-eye giant crocodile go on a rampage? Xiao Zhan immediately realized that Han Fei had other methods that he didn't know. The ghost-eye giant crocodile suddenly spewed out a desolation gale. The terrifying power left a dent on the ground, and wherever the gale passed, all the stones along the way were turned into powder. Han Fei immediately flashed and jumped aside. Then he was shocked. Why are you being serious? Han Fei immediately shouted, did you see that? Did you see that? Who the hell told me that this is the power of a level 47 creature? I'll give him 100 million. The ghost-eye giant crocodile's aura and strength were soaring. In the blink of an eye, all its power surged out, and a terrifying aura burst out. The desolation gale hit the seals. Although it didn't break the seals, dozens of people vomited blood because of the shock. The people outside the field all leaned back, and some were about to run away. Not good. The seals can't resist it. Let's call the hanging fishers here. Before the hanging fishers came out, a middle-aged man had flown out of the private room. He put one hand on the seals and his eyes flashed. Damn it. What trick did that kid play? This damn ghost-eye giant crocodile has been hiding for 8 years. In 8 years, you've turned yourself into a level 47 exotic creature. Han Fei raised his head and said, "Hey, hidden fisher. Well, I won, didn't I? Look at me. Although I'm not very strong, I have keen eyes. In order to get my keen eyes, I've worked hard for decades." Shut up. Even if it's not level 47, who can prove that it's a legendary creature? Also, you pretended to be a heavenly talent from the fiery dragon town. Is it a fraud? Han Fei sneered. Now you're talking about my identity? What were you doing in the Wind Thunder Arena? Also, are you accusing me of fraud? Look at that. It's at least level 49 and possibly level 50. You've been raising it in the Wind Thunder Arena for 8 years, and you say you don't know? Ask the hundreds of thousands of people here. How many of them will believe you? If it weren't for my keen eyes, I would have been slapped to death. Han Fei wasn't scared at all in front of the hidden fisher. He was even talking back to him as if he didn't know anything. Many people in the audience were dumbfounded by his attitude. Oh! The ghost-eye giant crocodile roared again and launched another desolation gale at him. Han Fei simply raised an ultra-quality spiritual shield to block it. Bam! Han Fei was sent flying by the blow, and he immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. Good. You're just stalling for time. You don't want to admit it after I die, do you? However, the hidden fisher said casually, "Of course, the Wind Thunder Arena will admit the bet. But you asked for this ghost-eye giant crocodile yourself. You want the Wind Thunder Arena to help you tame it? Also, while the Wind Thunder Arena made a mistake and didn't expect the ghost-eye giant crocodile's real strength, the ghost-eye giant crocodile was a challenge. However, you have to challenge it. Now, if you can't tame it, you can give up the game. The Wind Thunder Arena will return all the bets that were placed on you in full. However, you can take this ghost-eye giant crocodile away when you're capable enough." Han Fei instantly roared, "Do you think I'll believe you? Wait for me to go there next time? I don't even know if it was cooked by you. What if the Wind Thunder Arena says that it died of illness? Who can I turn to?" As he spoke, the desolation gale was launched again and again. Han Fei vomited blood after being hit 3 times, and his ultra-quality shield was broken too. Han Fei roared, "Let's continue the game. I'll bet another 500,000 on myself. Since I can make it go on a rampage, I can certainly calm it down." The hidden fisher hummed and snapped his fingers. The chains and shackles on the ghost-eye giant crocodile were all unlocked, and the black veil on its eyes was removed. "I admire your courage. As long as you can tame it, this ghost-eye giant crocodile will be yours. As for the mistake caused by the Wind Thunder Arena's mistake, the Wind Thunder Arena is willing to compensate you with 100 million mid-quality pearls." Han Fei cursed in his heart, "Are you fucking serious? If I'm really killed, I won't get anything." Han Fei activated the majestic mystic spell, and his aura soared to the maximum. At the same time, Little Fatty was attached to him, and Han Fei's aura immediately broke the barrier of a hanging fisher. Hiss! Countless people in the arena were shocked. How did this son of a bitch hide himself so well? Asking for votes, end of this chapter. Chapter 578. The moment Han Fei decided to continue the challenge, the host shouted, "Ladies and gentlemen, Octopus Weirdo is truly a hidden, unparalleled heavenly talent. Even in such a disadvantageous situation, he still chose to fight head-on. Since he can see through the ghost-eye giant crocodile's true strength, can he win?" A member of the audience immediately cursed, "Fuck! What was there to fight about? How do we fight a legendary creature? Shoot, I just bet 1,000 mid-quality pearls on Octopus Weirdo. Can I get a refund? Son of a bitch, why don't you just admit defeat? Why are you still rushing up? In the sky, Xiao Zhan was watching this scene thoughtfully. Han Fei was no fool, and the ghost-eye giant crocodile's outburst surprised him. Why didn't he erupt earlier or later? Why did he erupt when he was provoked by Han Fei? The girls from the Blue Sea town all turned green. Someone shouted, It's over, it's over. We've lost money. It seems like we've helped brother you lose 40 million. Jiang Tong's face couldn't have turned green. The other party had already said that you could quit. Why the fuck did you still want to go up? You knew it was a legendary creature, yet you still rushed forward? He was a legend, big brother. Xia Xiaochan frowned. The first thing she thought of was the hexagon starfish. For some reason, she knew Han Fei too well. She guessed that Han Fei had reached an agreement with the ghost-eye giant crocodile. Zhang Xuanyu slapped his thigh and cursed, Brute, you must be cheating me. Lu Renkuang rolled his eyes. Xiaobai, do you think he's stupid? Luo Xiaobai shook her head. He's not stupid. He must have a backup plan. He Xiaoyu, on the other hand, clenched her fists anxiously. However, she had her suspicions. She remembered the scene when Han Fei took them to dig the pit of the purple-tailed scorpions. She felt that Han Fei wouldn't be so stupid as to rush up and fight. Those who were familiar with Han Fei knew his character. But no one in the Wind Thunder Town was familiar with Han Fei. Now that Han Fei had turned into Octopus Weirdo, nobody knew him at all. The hidden fisher was not thinking that Han Fei could defeat the ghost-eye giant crocodile, but wondering if he would appease the ghost-eye giant crocodile in a certain way. If that happened, Han Fei would still be the winner. That was why the hidden fisher agreed to let Han Fei forfeit the game. However, the ghost-eye giant crocodile had broken free from the shackles and chains. It raised its head and spat out a desolation gale, before it swung its tail at Han Fei. However, while running wildly, Han Fei shouted, It's as urgent as the law. Stop. Suddenly, the audience saw that the huge ghost-eye giant crocodile really did stop. He didn't move at all, and his tail was still swinging out. Fuck, what the hell is this? What ability is this? Why don't I sense any energy or spiritual energy fluctuations? Han Fei screamed, Ugh. As expected of a legendary-type creature. So powerful. You can actually block my soul-controlling spell with your divine will? The ghost-eye giant crocodile moved again. As if it had broken a barrier, it swung its tail at Han Fei again. Han Fei shrieked again, The universe is infinite. Borrow the power of the universe. Be still, Shua. The ghost-eye giant crocodile was frozen again. Many people in the auditorium were dumbfounded. What the heck? It was frozen again? What kind of technique did this guy use? Someone was suspicious. Are they fighting in the soul world? That's bullshit. There's no soul world. But that's what Octopus Weirdo shouted just now. Lu Renkuang covered his face. I got it. I know what's going on. Luo Xiaobai nodded. Me too. Xia Xiaochan laughed so hard that she almost jumped off the window of the private room. Jiang Tong was dumbfounded. What's going on? Is this Octopus Weirdo's strength beyond my understanding? In the blink of an eye, Han Fei stepped on a ball of spiritual energy and stepped on it 7 times in a row. Then he shouted, Step on the 7 stars and seal the gods in the grand array. Then, Han Fei jumped on the ghost-eye giant crocodile that was frozen and roared at it, Don't move. Don't resist. The ghost-eye giant crocodile seemed to have broken something again. The audience didn't understand it, and the hidden fisher was dumbfounded too. He wondered if it was an unknown barrier. Could it really seal the soul? Xiao Zhan, on the other hand, was already sitting on the roof of the Wind Thunder Arena. He covered his head with one hand and almost wanted to drag Han Fei over and beat him up. If they found out about this, the Thug Academy would be completely humiliated. By then, the president would definitely chase you from the west side of the Wind Thunder Town to the east side of the Wind Thunder Town. The desolation gale sprayed out randomly, and the ghost-eye giant crocodile writhed crazily. Then his tail slammed into the barrier, scaring the audience so much that they peed their pants and ran away. The hidden fisher's body trembled and he was appalled. What kind of power is this? It's as strong as the attack of an intermediate hidden fisher? Just a tail? Han Fei sucked on the ghost-eye giant crocodile with little Fatty, and the sucker was almost broken. He couldn't help but be speechless. Who the hell could withstand a casual blow with 2,500 tons of force? Then Han Fei said, I'll absorb, I'll absorb, I'll absorb. Circles of spiritual energy and energy surged into Han Fei's body. Han Fei was absorbing for real, or he couldn't have passed it off as real. Someone exclaimed, not good. The octopus can absorb spiritual energy and energy at the same time. The ghost-eye giant crocodile is going to lose. Many people stood up spontaneously. A level 49 legendary creature is fighting an advanced dangling fisher. What's the point of this game if it loses? The hidden fisher who guarded the array was also horrified. Other people couldn't tell, but he could easily tell that the octopus was not a naturally endowed spiritual beast but just a contractual spiritual beast. What kind of contractual spiritual beast could boast such a terrifying suction force? Also, Han Fei's secret technique shocked him too, which seemed to have increased his strength by at least 3 times. A moment later, when the ghost-eye giant crocodile's voice echoed in Han Fei's heart, its legs gave way, and it fell to the ground. Han Fei waved at the audience and said, I said that I would win. Everyone in the audience, please raise your hands. I know you must have made a lot of money. At least trust me. Clatter. Stinky shoes, stinky socks, and broken wood were all thrown at Han Fei. Someone cursed, damn bastard, you're shameless. Someone said angrily, little brat, you were just pretending earlier? You could have easily defeated Ming Kuan and Jing Chongfeng. You liar. Liar, you're just swindling our money. Han Fei said angrily, we're all adults. You should be responsible for your words. I fought hard for a long time and won the victory when I was exhausted. How could I be swindled? Look at me, I'm covered in blood. Suddenly, the hidden fisher pointed his finger, and a stream of spiritual energy fell on Han Fei. With a hum, all the blood on Han Fei's body was gone, and his skin was smooth. Han Fei? Oh, just as I expected, you liar. The hidden fisher couldn't have been more infuriated. This damn thief. Although the arena was full of people this time, more than 200,000 people had bet less than 1.5 billion on the ghost-eye giant crocodile. However, those who bet on Han Fei to win were 600 million. The odds were 1 to 5. 3 billion was gone. He had lost all the money he had made before, and he had to pay at least 500 million. Moreover, he had even lost this legendary creature. The hidden fisher secretly cursed. He should have stopped the game just now. Why did he covet this brat's mere 500 million mid-quality pearls? Now he had suffered a double loss. A legendary creature couldn't be bought with money at all. If he were to sell a legendary creature for 5 billion, someone from the Thousand-Star City would have bought it immediately. 5 billion seemed a lot, but in fact, in the more advanced currency system, it didn't even need to be blinked. He cursed incessantly. The hidden fisher landed and looked at Han Fei. It's fine if you want to take this ghost-eye giant crocodile away. Your tricks are also within the rules. However, if you want to leave, you'd better restore your real face first. Where are you from? I'll look into it. At this moment, the audience was already in an uproar. If the ghost-eye giant crocodile weren't still here, those people would have rushed up and beaten Han Fei to death. Han Fei scratched his head and thought for a long time. Then he suddenly shouted at the sky, Master, are you there? Gloomily, Xiao Zhan grunted indifferently. He really didn't want to talk to this little bastard. However, he must have earned hundreds of millions of mid-quality pearls by getting a legendary creature. Although he had to be embarrassed, he didn't mind it. He could just fight back during the game. The hidden fisher suddenly turned around and looked at Xiao Zhan, who was sitting on the top of the arena. He was shocked. When did he go up there? In the arena, Han Fei's face changed, and he returned to his original appearance. Hiss! Shoot, who is this? Someone exclaimed, Han Fei? Third up, asking for votes. The author said, well, I'll stop updating today. I can't continue. But I'm not really stopping updating today, am I? What broken update got hand? I'm not one of them. End of this chapter. Chapter 579. When Han Fei revealed his true face, everybody from the Blue Sea town was shocked. He Xiaoyu grinned. She had just bet all her belongings on Han Fei. Including what she just won, she had invested nearly 80,000 mid-quality pearls. In the blink of an eye, it was 400,000. He Xiaoyu couldn't have imagined such a number before. She didn't know either. She had just come to watch the competition and somehow earned so much money. Xia Wushuang and Xiang Nan were all dumbfounded and wailed. Xia Wushuang asked, He Xiaoyu, did you know that octopus weirdo was Han Fei? Why didn't you tell me earlier? If you had, I would have bet everything on him. He Xiaoyu snorted. I didn't know it until later. Also, the third game changed so much that I wasn't even sure if Han Fei could win. Xiang Nan beat his chest and stamped his feet. There was a great bet in front of me, but I didn't cherish it. I'm afraid that I won't have another chance in the future. In the private room, Jiang Tong's mouth was wide open. His eyes almost popped out. It's him? This jerk. I was wondering why I found him familiar. It turns out to be this jerk. Jiang Tong was dumbfounded, but he felt that he was about to pass out. 20%? He had become a billionaire just like that? At this moment, Jiang Tong couldn't have felt more fortunate about his decision. Thanks to his sixth sense as a man, he had uncanny trust in Han Fei. That was why he tricked everyone he knew, his subordinates, and his classmates to come here and bet on Han Fei. He was absolutely sure that the biggest gain from his trip to the Wind Thunder Town was definitely not the bullshit-friendly match, but the surprise that fell from the sky. As for Xia Xiaochan and Zhang Xuanyu, although they didn't know what methods Han Fei used, Han Fei must have been confident since he took action. The girls who were called over by Zhang Xuanyu all jumped to their feet in excitement. They had all made a fortune and become millionaires. Was there anything more exciting than that? As for Mr. Xuanan and his students from the Fiery Dragon Town, they were all dumbfounded. It's him? How is it possible? How can a student be so strong? Some heavenly talents from other towns came to watch. When they saw Han Fei, some of them recognized him. Someone said, so it was him. That made sense. The number 1 on the wanted list of the level 3 fishery is no joke. Someone asked, is he Han Fei? The guy who killed Mo Qianshang, the top expert on the 3rd level fisherman's wanted list? Someone nodded. Not just that. This person is so bold that he dares to rob anyone. Halfway through his sentence, the man stopped. Some things were forbidden to be spread to the outside world. Once the news spread, there would definitely be people coming to arrest him. As for what kind of person Han Fei was in the level 3 fishery, they would find out after they went to the level 3 fishery again. Most of the participants had been to the level 3 fishery before. However, they were not like Han Fei and the others. Their training time was very short. Some of them had returned long ago, while others had only stayed for a few months. There were also some who were preparing to go after the exchange competition to build up their confidence. But whether they recognized Han Fei or not, at least from this moment on, Han Fei had become a dazzling new star. The hidden fisher of the Wind Thunder Arena didn't say anything, but he had made up his mind. In the future, the Wind Thunder Arena would add a rule. Anyone who participated in the competition in disguise, once discovered, would lose all the results of the competition. As for this time, Han Fei had failed. One reason was that the betting was open to all in the first place. Was it cheating? Not really. Han Fei had been fighting as an advanced dangling fisher all the time. However, no one would have thought that Han Fei was so strong. Ming Kuan, who had won 138 games in a row, was really strong. He was even comparable to the heavenly talents of the Thousand-Star City, but he was still no match for Han Fei. At this moment, many people of the Wind Thunder Town who were secretly observing began to spread the news everywhere. And the content, without exception, was all describing how strong Han Fei was at this moment. Han Fei squatted in front of the ghost-eyed giant crocodile and said via voice transmission, "From today on, you are free. You have two choices. One is to become my contractual spiritual beast, but I'm sorry, my contractual spiritual beast limit is full. The other is to become the guardian spiritual beast of the Thug Academy. You only need to guard the academy for 10 years. After that, if you want to leave, I won't stop you." While talking, Han Fei winked at the ghost-eyed giant crocodile. Han Fei was suspicious. The ghost-eyed giant crocodile was suspicious. "I can't be someone else's spiritual beast. As for the guardian spiritual beast you said, is it true?" Han Fei blinked, but in his heart, Old Bai and Xiao Zhan are here. "Do you think you can run away? It's good enough for me to be your guardian spiritual beast. Look at the hexagon starfish. It's rolling in the bull conch pit every day. It's up to you. My purpose is to make money. However, I think you should go to the Thug Academy first. Not to mention you, a legendary creature, there are several mysterious creatures in the Thug Academy. None of them are worse than you." The ghost-eyed giant crocodile was stunned. This human is really good at bragging. I've only seen mysterious creatures once in my life. How can there be mysterious creatures in the territory of human beings? The ghost-eyed giant crocodile seemed to have accepted its fate. Now, its top priority was to follow this person out and let this person take it away from the Wind Thunder Town. Otherwise, if it were to escape on its own, it would probably be caught by someone halfway. The ghost-eyed giant crocodile roared a few times, and then its roars became smaller and smaller. In the eyes of outsiders, it had compromised and been conquered by Han Fei. The ghost-eyed giant crocodile's body was shrinking, and in the blink of an eye, it became a big crocodile more than 2 meters long. Even so, the ghost-eyed giant crocodile still looked so ferocious. Especially its fangs, which were all exposed, it was a breathtaking sight. Han Fei grinned and raised his head with a smile. "Does anyone else want to compete?" The audience burst into fury again. "Why are you still fighting? Are you going to fight an iron-headed fish? You've already lost so much money that you can't even afford to wear your shoes." The hidden fisher snorted. "Take your money and this ghost-eyed giant crocodile and leave." Han Fei stretched his body and shook his hair. Except for his ragged clothes, the rest of his body was unscathed. As for vomiting blood, it didn't exist. "I've already won. Why would I vomit blood?" Han Fei swaggered out of the Wind Thunder Arena. On his way, a lot of people were cursing and pointing at him. Han Fei wasn't bothered at all. He thought to himself, the rich don't bother with the poor. As for Xia Xiaochan, she appeared before Jiang Tong as soon as possible. She tilted her head and smiled at him, which made Jiang Tong's hair stand on end. Knowing that octopus weirdo was Han Fei, Jiang Tong could easily guess that the mushroom-haired girl was Xia Xiaochan. Jiang Tong coughed. "Cough, cough. Give me some time. I need to collect the money." Han Fei left in a good mood. He boarded a boat with the ghost-eyed giant crocodile and flew to the Tree Core City. He decided that he wouldn't go there again until the public's fury and the arena was closed. Xiao Zhan followed Han Fei to the arena. Luo Xiaobai and the others arrived too. Each of them had earned 5 million mid-quality pearls. When the ghost-eyed giant crocodile saw Xiao Zhan, it couldn't help but feel that the guy was even stronger than the guy in the Wind Thunder Arena. Observing the ghost-eyed giant crocodile for a long time, Xiao Zhan asked, "Can you talk?" The ghost-eyed giant crocodile didn't say anything. Han Fei nudged it with his foot and said, "You can't escape Mr. Xiao Zhan's eyes. Seriously, you're not the only one who can talk. There are more in our academy." The ghost-eyed giant crocodile roared at Han Fei and said helplessly, "I can talk, but this is a deal. I'll help you make money, and you'll help me escape." Xiao Zhan held his chin and said, "Huh, not bad. Little crocodile, are you sure you don't want to be the contractual spiritual beast of my students? You must know that the boys in our academy are all dragons, and the girls are all phoenixes. You're just a legendary creature. You've got a great deal." The ghost-eyed giant crocodile's ferocious eyes were full of disdain and disbelief. Xiao Zhan said, "Han Fei, let Little Gold and the nine-tailed mantis shrimp out. Han Fei grinned, and Little Gold and the nine-tailed mantis shrimp immediately ran out. Little Gold ran to Han Fei the moment he saw him, not even looking at the ghost-eye giant crocodile. The nine-tailed mantis shrimp, on the other hand, had already approached and scratched the ghost-eye giant crocodile with his 9 chains. Then the ghost-eye giant crocodile simply knocked the nine-tailed mantis shrimp away. I'm already an adult, but I've been raped by a shrimp. How humiliating is that? However, the ghost-eye giant crocodile was truly shocked. His bloodline seems to be of a higher level than mine. Both of them. While they were talking, Zhang Xuanyu and the others came back and were laughing aloud. Ha! We've made a fortune. First update. Asking for votes. End of this chapter. That you're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.